IPCC 6 Assessment Report. This is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change recently released reports Working Group 1 of the 6th Assessment Report titled ARC Climate Change, the Physical Science Basis. IPCC prepared the comprehensive assessment report about the state of scientists' technical and socio-economic knowledge of climate change, its impact, the future risk, and option for reducing the rates at which climate change is taking place. So far, first assessment report has been produced that first one being released in 1919 will be the updated AR5 released. Improvement in the observation-based estimates and information from the paleoclimatic achieve provides a comprehensive view of each component of climate system and its change. New climate model simulation, new analysis and methods combining the multiple lines of evidence lead to improve the understanding of human influence on the wider range of climate variable including the weather and climate. So to provide the government at all level with the scientific information that they use the developed climate policy and observed the increase in well mixed greenhouse gas concentration since 1750 is global related glacier sea level rise, drop in oxygen level, observed precipitation change in near surface ocean salinity, decrease in northern hemisphere spring now snow cover. So global surface temperature was 1.09 higher in 2011 and 12. That was will larger increase over the land and then over the ocean. So each of the last 4 decades has been subsequently warmer than the decades of predecessor it since 1815. Human caused global surface temperature increased 1.07. The Arctic ice area has decreased about 40 degree and global mean sea level increased by 0.20 m between 1901. Climate zone has shifted toward both hemispheres and growing season has on average lengthened by up to 2 days per decade since 1950 in northern hemisphere. So scale of the recent change across the climate change is concentration of CO2 unmatched for at least 2 million years. Glacial treated unmatched sea level rise further that any prior century. Summer Arctic ice coverage smaller than any time. Ocean warmer faster any time, and ocean acidification. So human-induced climate change is already affecting many weather and climate extreme. It has linked extreme weather events such as the heat wave, heavy precipitation, drought, and tropical cyclone. Hot extreme has become the more frequent and more intense across more land. Marine heat wave has approximately doubled, and the frequency, intensity, heavy precipitation events have increased since, and the tropical cyclone occurrence has increased over the last 2 decades. So human caused net positive radiative forcing causes the accumulation of the additional energy in the climate system. Radiative forcing is the change in energy flux in the atmosphere cause natural and the anthropologic factor of climate change. Positive radiate forcing means Earth receives more incoming energy from sunlight than it's radiate to the space. Heating of the climate system has caused the global mean sea level rise, ice loss on the land, and thermal expansion of the ocean warming. Ocean warming accounted 91% of the heating of the climate system, with land warming, ice loss, atmosphere warming 5 to 3%. Thermal expansion explained 50% sea level rise, while ice loss from the glacier contributed 22%, ice sheet and 20% change in the land water storage 8%. Equilibrium of the climate sensitivity, the global mean surface air temperature increase that follow a doubling of atmosphere carbon dioxide. Global surface temperature will continue to increase until 2050 under all emission scenario. 1.5 to 2 degree will be exceeded during the 21st century unless deep reduction in carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emission. With every increment, global warming change lets larger in the regional mean temperature, precipitation, and soil moisture. Continuous global warming is projected to further intensify the global water cycle, including the variability, global monsoon, precipitation, and severity of wet and dry events. With the increased CO2 emission, the ocean and land carbon sink will become less effective at the CO2, and many changes due to past future greenhouse gas emission change the ocean. So multiple climate impacts driven by the projected to the change in all region of the world, and climate impacts driven climate system conditions means events extreme that affects the elements of social ecosystem. Low likelihood outcomes, abrupt ocean circulation change, some compounded extreme event warming substantially larger than the stress very likely for the warming. And there is the regional finding of the India heat wave and the humid heat stress will be the more intense frequent, and both annual and the summer monsoon precipitation will be increased annually with enacted to the internationally variability. Increased precipitation and the river floods and fire weather seasons also projected to lengthen and intensify. Covered area and the snow volume will decrease in most region and Hindu Kush Himalaya during the 21st century, and snowline elevation will rise. The glaciers volume are likely to decline with the greater mass loss and the CO2 emission. Region means sea level continuous rise and will contribute to more than frequent coastal flooding, and low area is the coastal erosion. Emission gap report. So this report was released by the UNEP, and this report annual series of provide the overview of the emission gap difference between the where greenhouse gas is predicted and where should it to be. So it's 7.5% produced 2030, returning to the 2.7 degree of the UNEP forecast, and the 55% to limit 1.5 degree emission reduction needed. Current net zero target will be 2.2 degrees Celsius. Reduction of methane emission could help to close the emission gaps, and the COVID-19 pandemic 5.4% drop in fossil fuel dioxides will be the emission gap reports. Okay, now next is adaptation report. So gathering storm. So the reports was UNEP, again it was UNEP, and this is the assess to the national global progress in the adaptations planning, financing, implementation. Climate change adaptation is 79% country have adopted at least one nation adaptation planning. So the public private partnership World's Economic Forum is the related to the first mover of the coalitions, and it brings the together global companies with the supply chain across the carbon intensive sector to invest innovative green technology and massive scale up in net zero emissions by the 2015. So this is climate change adaptation is increasing being embedded in policy planning. 79% countries are adopted at least the one nation's level adaptation planning instrument is adaptation cost. Developing country 5 to 10 greater than current finance flow. Adaptation finance is the larger than the India and widening. Opportunity provide the COVID-19 for the stimulus package for the green and resilient recovery and not currently being realized. So the process of reducing country community vulnerability and the climate change by increasing the ability to absorb the impact of the resilient. It is the difference between the actually implemented adaptation and the social set of goals, determining the preference related to the tolerate climate change and reflecting resources limitation, completing the priority cost of the planning, preparing for the facilitating and implementing adaptation measures are there. So UN Environment Program intergovernmental organization established 1972, an outcome from the UN Conference on the Human Environment Stockholm Conference under the umbrella of UN Agenda for the Sustainable Development, identifying addressing the most relevant environment problem, set the global environment agenda, promote the coherent implementation of environment dimension sustainable development. So there is 193 members are there, and in Nairobi is the Kenya is for the UN Environment headquarter. Structure is chaired by the executive director. UNEP depends voluntary on 95% is income. Administer provide the secretarial functions for greenhouse gas, and this is to Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species, Basel Convention transboundary movement of hazardous waste and disposal, Rotterdam Convention for the informed consents for the hazardous chemical and pesticides, Minamata for the mercury, Stockholm for the persistent organic pollution, Convention for Biological Diversity, and the Vienna Convention protection of ozone, and the CITES for Convention on International Trade for Endangered Species. So Global Environment Outlook Report is an adaptation gap report, triple emergency report, cooling emissions, and policy synthetic report. That all reports are from UN Environment. Global Environment Outlook Report, Adaptation Gap Report, Triple Emergency Report, Cooling Emission Report. So Greenhouse Gas Bulletin. This is the World Meteorological Organization released the Greenhouse Gas Bulletin. Concentration of the carbon dioxide reached 413.2 parts per million in the 2020 and is 149% of the pre-industrial level. So methane is 262% and the nitrous oxide is 123% level. From 1990 to 2020, radioactive force, the warming effect of our climate by the long-lived greenhouse gases increased 47%, with CO2 accounting for about 80%. The number of the based on the monitoring of WMO Global Atmospheric Watch Network. This is the intergovernmental organization established by the ratification of WMO. It originating from the International Meteorological Organization and dedicated to international cooperation and the coordination on the Earth atmosphere interaction with the land ocean, the weather, climate it produces, and the resulting distribution of water resources. Geneva, Switzerland. Greenhouse Gas Bulletin, that is Geneva in Switzerland, a specialized agency for the United Nations. Next is Global Methane Assessment. Global Methane Assessment is the mitigating methane emission was published by the United Nations Environment Programme associated with the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. Increase the concentration of the methane. Methane atmospheric conditions have more than doubled since pre-industrial level, second only to the carbon dioxide derived from the climate change. Methane in the atmosphere reached recent to be even to CO2 level dropped during the pandemic, reducing anthropogenic emission reduction of anthropogenic 45%, global warming 0.3%. So the Bangladesh, Canada, Ghana, Mexico, Sweden, United States and United Nations UNEPs came together to initiate efforts to tear short-lived climate pollutant as an urgent and collective challenges from the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. The condition was UNEP for to improve the air quality and protecting the climate, so the action to reduce the short-lived climate pollutant. This voluntary partnership of the program for intergovernmental organization, business, scientific institution of the civil society and organization, so varying mitigation potential of the region. For example, China mitigating coal production and livestock, India and the waste sector. Recommendation to reduce the methane emission, behavioral change measure, prevent emission from the agriculture, reducing the flood waste and loss, improving livestock management, healthy diets or with lower meat and dairy content, improving treatment and the disposal solid waste, transition to renewable energy, global tax or methane emissions. So global mean methane amounts to the part per billion. So this is the Global Methane Initiative. India recently co-chaired the leadership meeting is voluntary government and informed the international partnership created to achieve the global reduction in the anthropogenic methane emission. Developing countries are having economy created 2004 to membership of 45. So Global Methane Initiative was the 2004 and 45 countries. About the methane is a short-lived climate pollutant with atmosphere lifetime roughly a decade. It's a short-lived pollutant and then naturally we can found wetland, inland, geographical ocean and permafrost. Anthropogenic fossil fuel and the production of use, agriculture and waste. Methane contribute to the formative or ground level ozone, and ozone contribute to the anthropogenic methane emission causes approximately half of million premature deaths and harm the ecosystem, crop suppressing growth and the diminishing the production. Methane short atmosphere lifeline. Taking action now can quickly reduce the atmospheric concentration, result similarly rapid reduction in climate forcing. So short-lived climate pollutant, they are the powerful climate force that remain in the atmosphere for much shorter periods of time. Carbon dioxide, yet potential of the warm the atmosphere can be many greater. So certain short-lived climate pollutants are also dangerous to the air pollutant that have harmful effects the people, ecosystem and the agriculture productivity. Short-lived climate pollutant, black carbon, methane, tropospheric ozone and the hydrofluorocarbon are the most important contributor to the man-made global greenhouse effects and the carbon dioxide responsible for 45-degree current global warming. Black carbon is second largest contributor to the warming and the plants and the carbon dioxides. India on course to the exceed past climate change commitments. So India and EISA International Solar Alliance Energy Transition Dialogue, Union Minister of Power and the New and Renewable Energy again made by the India Energy Transactions. 40% cumulative electrical power installed capacity fossil fuel by 2030, reducing emission intensity 30%. Fossil fuel and renewable energy will be the 40%, reducing the emission intensity 30%. Additional carbon sinks 2.5 to 3 billion ton CO2 equivalent, so the additional forest and tree cover. Achieve converted the milestone to 100 gigawatt of installed renewable energy capacity and 100 gigawatt renewable energy capacity, 2.5 to 3 billion ton CO2 35% emission intensity will be reduced, and the 40% electrical power installed capacity will be there. So this is 38% installed power generation capacity for renewable energy. Fourth position in the world to term is the installed renewable energy capacity, and 5 solar. So it's achieved emission reduction 28% and level up against to the target 35% national determined contribution. And on the 110 countries, Paris Accord has submitted report for limiting their carbon. China and India has missed the UN. So this is 100 gigawatt, 2.5 to 3 ton, 35% reduction in the emission, 45% electrical power installed capacity, 100 gigawatt installed renewable energy capacity. So this is all about. Now COP26 is the United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change in Glasgow, hosted by the UK. So the conference also includes the 16th session of the Conference of Parties, meeting to the parties to the Kyoto Protocol, and the third session of conference parties serving to meeting the parties for Paris Agreement, finalizing the Paris Rulebook, and following the COP25 summits in Madrid, where the issue had not been agreed and had been pushed to the next rule 16 of UN climate process. This conference ended with 197 parties and UNFCCC agreeing to Glasgow Climate Pact and the global agreement, which will be accelerate action on the climate this decade and complete the Paris Rulebook. So limit to the warming 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030 and cut the global greenhouse gas emission 45 degree to 0 degree. So this is the ambition by the COP26 submitted new climate plans and the nationally determined contribution their emissions contribute to the revisit the strengthen their climate pledge, and the first scope decision to explicitly target action against fossil fuel, calling for a phase down to the unbattled coal and to phase out the inefficient fossil fuel. Country being urged at least the double their collective provision of climate finance adaptations, and 352 million were be pledged UN adaptation funds. The fund advantage for being focused on the adaptation projects and being 100% grants to be rather than providing loans to the poorer section. So Sheikh work program for the global goal of adaptation, reduce the vulnerability, strengthen the resilience, and increase the capacity of people for planet adapt the impact of the climate change. Article 6, which was cover the market of non-market Basel mechanism of the Paris Agreement, finalize the carbon credit generated under the Kyoto Protocol, and this is will be the carried out to the Paris mechanism, but 5% proceed under the traditional market and must mandatory go towards the funding adaptation contribution fund towards the adaptation under the bilateral trading of credit between the country, avoiding double counting and same emission reductions counting towards the climate commitment, exclusion use of credit generated historically between this, and reduce the deforestation and forest degradation under the UN Red Plus. Now the laws and damage. Glasgow Dialogue was funding laws and damage, so develop the country place to support the Santiago network, which is for the UNFCCC and linked to the organizations such as Development Bank that could support laws and damage. So the Glasgow Dialogue was there for laws and damage. Developed country please support the Santiago network, a website set up by the UNFCCC with link to organizations such as Development Bank and could support laws and damage. Rule on transparency of climate actions and supports. All countries agreed to submit information about their emissions and financial technological capacity building, and country was encouraged to use the common time frame for nation climate commitment, and this NDC will forward 2025 and date 2035. So commitment will be there. Laws and damage, it refers to the impact of climate change, and where losses are permanent, it covers show on set process like the sea level and the temperature rise, extreme event like flood, hurricanes, tropical cyclone, market non-market based mechanism. So Article 6 is contain the three separate mechanisms for voluntary cooperation towards the climate goals, with the overarching aim of the raising ambition to mechanism for the based on market and non-market appropriate. So international trading mitigation outcomes, which was the could be include the emissions cut, and the measure will be turned CO2 renewable energy link their emission tradings, and for towards this national climate goals will be lead to creation of new international carbon markets and public and private anywhere world known the sustainable development mechanism, and this will be the trade into the aid. Now next is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Rio Convention was the Rio Summit. Rio Convention derived from the United Nations Conference of Environment and Development (UNECED), also known the Earth Summit of Rio de Janeiro. Its sister Rio Convention is the UN Biological Diversity and the Convention on Climate Desertification. So its sister conventions are the UN Biological Diversity and UN Convention Climate Desertification to stabilize the greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere at the level that would prevent the dangerous anthropogenic climate system with a time frame sufficient allow the ecosystem to adapt naturally and ensure the food productions and enable the economic development. So this sectoral provides a technical expertise and to analyze the review climate change information party implementation of the Kyoto mechanism and UNFCCC Secretariat UN. It also maintained the registry for the nationally determined contributions established the Paris Agreement. 197 countries that have retained to the convention of the called the party to the convention. So this is the conference of the party for decision making body, and all states and party to convention represent the COP. It meets the every year and unless the party decide to otherwise. So the conference of parties serving as a meeting of party to the Kyoto Protocol and implementation of Kyoto Protocol take decision to the promote effective implementation. All states Kyoto Protocol representing it while states are not a party for the observe. Conference of Parties serving as a meeting of the parties for the Paris Agreement and oversee the implementation of the Paris Agreement taken decision to the promote effective implementation. So while state that are not party participate to observe. So the breakdown, so the agenda it's commit the together take the clean and technology sustainable solution more affordable accessible attractive emission and global methane pledge is non-binding agreement is India signatory. So breakthrough agenda India signatory, global methane pledge India is not signatory but is a non-binding their methane emission 30% to 2030. Glasgow leader declaration for the forest and land use India is not signatory for this also. Okay, India is not signatory for this, and this is the sign for the country committed towards the collective halt reverse forest loss degradation 2030 delivering the sustainable development on the rural development. Forest agriculture and the commodity trade statesman, forest agriculture and commodity trade statesman, that is the jointly UK and the Indonesia. India is not the party of the forest agreement and commodity trade. This is the trade between commodities. A sustainable agriculture policy action agenda for the transition to sustainable agriculture and global action agenda for the innovation in agriculture. So India is also known the party of this sustainable agriculture policy action agenda for the transnational to sustainable agriculture and global action agenda. So signatory agreed to an urgent action invention to protect the nature and policy agenda for the action to the country can take the purpose public policy food agriculture to deliver the outcomes enable just rural transition. This is a global agenda supported by the World Bank, World Wide Fund and the World Food Program, UN Foundation, Columbia Climate School, Bayer and World Economic Forum, Asian Development Bank, European Bank. Declaration on the accelerating the transition to the 100% zero emission. So this non-binding agreement declaration to the 100% zero emission non-binding agreement in the government automotive, so the financial institution and civil society for to work towards the zero emission globally and to later 2035 in leading markets. Beyond oil and gas alliance, the government of Denmark and the Costa Rica is there. It is the international alliance of the government and stockholders for together to facilitate, manage, phase out the oil and gas production, to elevate the issue and production phase out in the international climate and the mobile action. Beyond oil and gas alliance, this is Denmark and Costa Rica government. It is international alliance for the government stakeholder working together to facilitate the manage phase out the oil and gas production. Side bank declaration for green shipping corridor. Sidebank Declaration for Green Shipping Corridors to create zero-emission shipping trade routes between the ports and speed up the decarbonization of the global maritime industry. The signatory country is the Sidebank Declaration for the Green Shipping, and this is climate summit for the Glasgow and agreed to support the establishment of the sixth green corridor. India is not the member of the Sidebank Declaration for the Green Shipping Corridor. Define the shipping route between the major ports and technological, economic and regulation feasibility, zero emission, and accelerate the public and private action. Sidebank Declaration for Green Shipping Corridor is COP26 Glasgow. India is not participating. A coalition of 22 countries have agreed to create zero-emission shipping trade routes between the ports to speed up the decarbonization of the global maritime industry. The signatory country, Sidebank Declaration for the Green Shipping Corridor, COP26 Climate Summit in the agreed to support the establishment of the sixth green corridor by 2025. A green corridor defines the shipping routes between the two major ports hub and technological, economical, regulatory feasibility for the zero emission ship and accelerating by the public and private. Now next is India. Panchamrita is the Prime Minister. Sidebank Declaration for Green Shipping Corridor. India is not the signatory. It's oil shipping resulting in the discharge of the hazardous chemical, sound pollution adversely impacts the marine and the blast water discharge result introduction of the invasive species in the ocean. So invasive species, pollution and the oil spill. So Sidebank Declaration for Green Shipping Corridor. India is not the partner, but the declaration of the green shipping corridors and six green corridors are there, defined as the shipping routes between the major ports hub and technological, economical, regulatory feasibility for zero emission ship. India Panchamitra, PM India and the India Climate Change Action Plan at the Panchamitra. So this is Framework Convention on Climate Change Conference on the party COP26. So Panchamrita means net zero by the 2020, achieve the net zero by 2020, increase non-fossil fuel 500 gigawatts, meet the 15% energy requirements by the renewable energy, reduce total production carbon emission 1 billion ton, reduce carbon density 45%. So this was the Panchamrita, India's major initiative for launch during the COP26. So launch the India UN climate on the New York and to promote the resilient new existing infrastructure for the sustainable development. Then its partnership for the national government UN agency program, multiple developing bank financing mechanism, the private sector and the knowledge. This is the launch the Global Organization Partnership Insurance Development Forum, Coalition for the Climate Resilient Investment, Coalition for the Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, UK Center for the Greening the Finance and the Investment, and the United Nations Office to the Disaster Risk Reduction for offer the global open reference risk data using the metrics built on the insurance risk modeling principle, provide the shared standards and facilitate the applicable to a wide range of users including the corporate climate risk disclosure, national adaptations and the reporting and the planning of the pre-arranged humanitarian finance. So Glasgow Financial Alliance for the Net Zero was launched, the UN Special Envoy of the Climate Action Finance along with UNFCCC Climate Action Champion COP26 is originally unveiled as forum for the leading financial institution to accelerate the transition net zero economy and decarbonizing economy in the Paris Agreement. So the objective is net zero, reach net zero emission by 2050, race to the zero campaign, non-state actor including the companies, city, region and the financial education institutions. Member will be the Net Zero Banking Alliance, Net Zero Assets Management and the Initiative Net Zero Asset Ownership, Net Zero Insurance and for the Net Zero Provider Alliance. Net Zero Banking Alliance will be the host for the United Nations Environment Programme Finance. UNEP newers the Net Zero Alliance or Net Zero Alliance for including the initiative of the Convert Net Zero Owners of Alliance. Earlier in the UN General Assembly also launched to the principal responsible for the banking agreed to work for the clients, and this is the sustainable practice and the aligned business strategy infrastructure for the resilient islands and the states. So the launch India and the Australia, UK, Fiji and Jamaica. So this is the coalition for the disaster resilient infrastructure with support to the member country and the organizations, and Iceland's for development states is a dedicated initiative for the provides the technical support to the multi-facet issues infrastructure, promote disaster and the climate resilient infrastructure. Latest knowledge about the learning Samoa parties for this action and deliver improve the resilience, seed infrastructure, climate change, disaster risk, strengthen knowledge partnership for the integrating resilience and promote gender equality, disability inclusion. So the seeds infrastructure is comprising for the Caribbean, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, Mediterranean and the South China Sea. Also for the geopolitical hydrometeorological radar. The Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Projects. So this is the COP26, okay, and this is the International Solar Alliance and World Bank and the UN Government of Wilton Park. So the International Solar Alliance and the World Bank, they are working for the India initiative to build global ecosystem for renewable energy, and this is the OSOVOG as the developed World Bank Technical Assistance Program. So the sun never sets on geographical locations divide into three main phases. Phase 1 is for the interconnectivity in the Asian context. Phase 2 will connect the functional first phase to pull renewable energy of Africa. Third will be the global interconnection. So Asian connectivity. Second will be the renewable resources of the Africa. Third will be global interaction. Assist all the participant body to attract the effective investment in renewable energy using the technology, finance, skill. Global collaboration will be the increase the research and development. E-Amrit portal, this is the COP26 and this is functioning one-stop destination for all information on the electrical vehicle. For this adoption of electrical vehicle complement initiative government on raising the awareness, and this is developed and the hosted Niti Aayog. So E-Amrit is for the Niti Aayog and UK government is there for the roadmap. So this is for the one-stop destination all information of electrical vehicle. E-Amrit for the electrical vehicle. And the COP26 Charter Action. This is Energy Solution Institute ahead of Glasgow Climate Change Conference. Assimilate the question, challenges and the concentrate key themes for India: green finance adaptation, and this is the nature-based solution, energy, clean transport and the business in global landscape forum climate. This is the think tank for sustainable German and the Federal Ministry of the Economy for the development. Highlight the infestation of the deserts locust was linked to the climate change. Global landscape for the forum climate hybrid conference. This is a well-functioned early warning system counting the environment's human cost and the developing the efficient government model. Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol. Recently, Union government approved to the ratification of Kigali and Montreal. It's a multilateral environment of the agreement that regulates the production and consumption of nearly 100 man-made chemical referred ozone-depleting substance. UN Treaty 2 ratified by the all UN members for regulatory framework provided by the Vienna Convention. Developing and the developed countries have equal but differential responsibility reflected towards the time frame. Binding group countries have the binding time targeted and the measurable. So for this Kigali Convention is the binding time targeted and measurable for the commitment. Montreal Protocol led to the adoption of multilateral fund to aid developing countries implementation of the protocol. Technology and the economic assessment panel was established to the technology and the economic advisory body for the Montreal Protocol, and the several amendments have been made to the protocol since the adoption of C infographic. So this is the type of UV radiation for the wavelength of 315 to 400 good for the health pass to the atmosphere. UVB medium wavelength for the harmful skin most of the filtration. UV for the wavelength 180 to 280 most damaging. So substance of the control the protocol Annex 1 for the CFC. NXB will be CFC, carbon tetrachloride, methane chlorofluorine, and NXC will be the HCFC, and the NXF will be SFC and the hydrofluorocarbons. And the classification: non-Article 5 for the developed country, Article 5 parties developing country, and the WHO's annual calculation level consumption of the controlled substance Annex A and kilogram for this. So the about Vienna Convention of the protection of ozone layer is Vienna Convention for the protection of ozone layer, multilateral environment for the sign, promotion and research in the activities and taking into the adverse effect. Montreal Protocol is ozone depleting substances, and Montreal Protocol, Vienna Convention for the protocol protection of ozone layer, developing developed country, equal differential responsibly binding and time targeted. So there is average HFC will be the 2020 10%, now 30%, 50% and 80%, and average HFC consumption will be the 61 hydrocarbon 10, 20, 30 and 85. So this is the Bureau of Belarus, Russia, Federation, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, component baseline and difference, initial two phase of reductions, and this is Article 5 party, not party of the group 2, but the Bahrain, India, Islamic Republic, and the Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Technology review will be there. Technology review 5 year for the considered in the Article 5. Okay, next one is the Kigali Agreement for the phase down the hydrofluorocarbon into the force, divide into 3 group, and the force set the paths for this to legally binding. Kigali is also legally binding. It's also legally binding, and this is for the Group 2 National Strategy. Hydrofluorocarbon concentration will be reduced. Okay, so this is for this. Now Montreal Protocol and the Vienna Convention. Montreal Protocol 92, it's a proactively phased out the production, consumption, CFC and use of Montreal dose inhaled use to the treatment asthma and the chronic disease. So subsequently MDI has been phased out, and this is ozone cell has been set up. So National Ozone Unit rendered the necessary service effective implementation of the Montreal Protocol. So ozone layer is high ozone concentration region of its stratosphere, protecting life of the earth by absorbing harmful ultraviolet radiation of the sun. Ozone depletion, thinning of the ozone layer. Ozone depleting substance was confirmed to 1985 formation of the ozone hole Antarctic and during the south hemisphere. Chlorofluorocarbon, carbon dioxide and the methyl chlorofluorocarbon is all these are gases. About the hydrofluorocarbon is for the industrial chemical primarily used to the cooling of the refrigerator and use replacement for the ozone depleting substance. So this ozone depleting substance, they are part of the short-lived climate pollutant with high global warming and the potential to global warming potential. So reduce the Kyoto adjustment to the Montreal Protocol and meeting to the emissions for the trichlorofluoromethane, and this arrangement for the implementation of Kigali Agreement, production, consumption of climate change and introduction of hydrofluorocarbon. International Solar Alliance, this is the UN General Assembly for this International Solar Alliance, well-defined cooperation between the Alliance and UN. This is choice to have a permanent office of New York, and it's in 1946 Swiss government as first permanent observer. A number of the regional and the international organization given the observer of status UNGS is include the non-member states and for the intergovernmental and other organizations. So this is launch Paris Climate Change for the France multi-country partnership member, solar resources rich country between the two tropics, where the global community can make a positive contribution toward increasing use of solar energy. It has now been decided to extend the membership of Alliance to UN states. The body will scale up the solar energy application, take coordinated action program and activity launch voluntary basis, facilitate collaborative research and development activity in solar energy. Each member share the updated for those solar applications, and 101 country have signed the framework for agreement and the 80 country have signed the ratified. So COP26 Glasgow US announced the jointly for this 101 members. First international organization headquartered in the India's Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid for launch India and the Global Climate Conference with the aim to harness the solar energy. Sun is shining and ensuring the electricity. ISA's partnership with the Bloomberg Philanthropies mobilized the 1 trillion to global investment solar energy. Global Energy Alliance People Planets launched COP26 billion of the committed capital for this investment in the green energy transition. Renewable energy solutions will be there, and the scaling the solar adaptations for the agriculture use and providing the greater energy access to sustainable irrigation solutions, solar water pumping system, uh, forest carbon credit scheme. China is the first base to the forest carbon market mechanism reduce the carbon emissions. So this is a permit company to emit the certain amounts of carbon dioxides and serve as the collateral for the bank credit and loan. Credit can also serve as the collateral for the bank, and forest carbon credit system will be the potential amid China pursued peaking carbon emission, achieving carbon neutrality 2060. And carbon border adjustment mechanism is for the European Union and the ambitious target to reducing the 55% carbon emissions and fit for it's pushing the world first tax import goods. Carbon border and the adjustment mechanism is seek to address the carbon leakage. Company decame to place the cheaper pollution cost and the looser climate regulations. Carbon border tax is the tax on the carbon emission imposed on the goods from the country with less strict climate policies, and its aim is to create a level playing field between the imports of domestic production. Certificates authorization and EU climate action and the finance mobilization dialogue. So it's not one of the two main tracks which of the US and India Agenda 2030 partnership was announced April. It's we have three pillar climate action pillar to look emissions next decade, pillar of the setting up the roadmap to achieve the 450 gigawatt renewable energy, transportation, buildings and industry finance pillar to collaborate on the attracting the finance to deploy 450 and the demonstrate this climate resilient information system planning. So Ministry of Rural Development is for the CRISP M tool integrating the climate information geographical information system and watershed planning under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act used to 7 states government UK India and the jointly working towards the climate resilience. Forum for Decarbonizing Transports. NITI Aayog for the Institute jointly launched the Forum for Decarbonizing Transport in India. Nationalized determined contribution for the initiative of the Asia projects is Project 7 organization engage China, India, Vietnam, facilitate paradigm shift to zero emission imports, and the project will be international climate initiative for the NITI Aayog is the implementing the India Clean Energy Ministerial Industrial Deep Decarbonizing Initiative. So India and UK for the coalition for the public and partnership stimulates the local carbon industrial material. It is coordinated UNIDO and country like Germany, Canada have also joined the initiative. Sustainable carbon assessments, establishment of public-private partnerships, incentive for the low carbon products and development of design industry guidelines. This coalition related to the initiative for the organization tackle the carbon intensive material mission possible platform for the leadership of the group of the industrial transactions, International Renewable Energy Agency and the World Bank. So a clean energy ministerial industrial decarbonizing initiative is for the World Bank. Climate equity monitor. So this is the dashboard for the assessing the international level equity to the climate actions inequality and the emission energy resource for the consumption across the world. It is developed by international research India emit monitoring performance of Annex 1 parties under UNFCCC equity principles and the common differential responsibility. So performance and the policy of Annex 1 party will be also be provided. So climate equity monitoring assessing international equity and climate action inequality emissions and energy resources. Water and Climate Coalition. This is the multi-stakeholder initiative provide the tangible actions and integrated water in the climate agenda for the special focus data information monitoring open for a wide range embedded scientific organization, private sector, NGO, UN, government and civil society putting to generate the momentum implementing hydrological activity and secretariat hosted within the World Meteorological Organization. Cotton 2040 initiative. Cotton initiative global cotton growing for the region including the India to increase risk from the least climate hazard by 2014 temperature increase change in the rainfall pattern Extreme weather cotton 2040 is for the NGO for create a resilient cotton industry increasing climate adaptation world. Asked short price. India Agriculture Waste Recycling Project has was the prize William as Earth short prize. This is the prize of the William for the Royal Foundation. The charity founded the Duke and the Cambridge as the Stone David for this is the developing solution to the first climate crisis, and this is the first to the handed in finalize the contribution towards the UN Sustainable Development Goal. Prime Minister Council on Climate Change. So this is for the 7 year PM CCC. Prime Minister coordinate the national action for the assessment, adaptation, mitigation, climate change, and this focus on coordinated response to issues relating to the climate change on national level. Provide the oversight formulating the action plan assessment. Climate mitigation and adaptations. Climate finance mechanism. COP26 India demanded $1 trillion of climate finance over the next decades for develop the country adapt to mitigate and challenges arising global warming. Local, national and transboundary financing for raw public-private alternative source financing that seek to support mitigations and adaptation action that will address the climate change. So climate financing will be assessing the help to world to reach the targets limiting global warming, and United Nations Framework of Convention of Climate Change, Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreements. Various bodies are finance resources that we are ensure the vulnerable. Global Environment Facilities for the Special Climate Change Fund with establish the finance protection relating to the adaptation technology and the transfer capacity building. Industry least developed countries are establishing somewhat the worker program to at least developed countries carry out the preparations and implementation of the National Adaptation Program Action. Adaptation funds for the adaptation properties and program developed by the Kyoto Protocol. Green Climate Fund 100 billion a year for the 2020 fund to support the developing country and realize the nationally determined contribution toward the low emissions. UN backed International Climate Fund. So this is Clean Technology Funds and the Climate Investment Fund aim at the accelerate the climate actions, empowering the transportation, clean technology and climate resilient, sustainable forest development in middle income country. UN reducing emission from the deforestation and the forest declarations aim to protect the forest and the natural basis solution climate emergency. Net zero assets for the owner lines. It's for the including pension funds, insurance company and sovereign with the funds, and its working substantial methodology to align the portfolio net zero. Other international funds, climate change fund for the Asian Development Bank. It was the established 2008 facilitates greater international development for the countries effective address the cause of consequences of climate change. Forest carbon partnership facilities, global partnership for the government, business and the civil society and indigenous people. So this is for the deforestation and the forest degradation, and this is the stock conservation, so sustainable management of the forest. Other national local sources for the raising the finance for the allocation of the national government, National Adaptations Fund and the Climate Change Central Sector Scheme. For this is the support the concrete adaptation activity, mitigate adverse effect of the climate change. Carbon pricing instrument. This is the approach trading scheme for establishing the carbon credit and price of carbon emissions and the approach concept microclimate change. So recently Council for the Energy Government Environment and Water reports rise in the cyclone intensity frequency in the India is due to the microclimate change. Microclimate change is local interplay between the factors such as the soil temperature, air temperature, wind directions, soil moisture, humidity affected the second effect. So this is the microclimate may either the provided buffer against the climate change or may affect from the temperature and the peaks, drought, irregular rains and delays. Net zero carbon targets. This is achieved with anthropogenic emissions, greenhouse gas, balanced anthropogenic removal, and this is for the regime for the renewable energy in the electricity sectors, carbon capture, utilization of the storage, Karakoram anomaly. Karakoram anomaly stability of the anomalous growth of the glacier in the central Karakoram range in contrast to the retreat of the glacier. Transboundary fish stock. This is the recent study of the exclusive economic zone transboundary stock of the fishes the concept of the shared following ratification UN Convention of the Lower Sea and claiming exclusive economic zone as per the Food and Agriculture Organizations and transboundary stock, which is the EAZ, and standing stocks for adjacent sea. Highly migratory stocks are there. Orcha plants, world largest direct air capture plant. So Orcha is the Swiss start climb work. Iceland's is Orcha, largest plant in the Iceland, is capturing carbon dioxide directly from the air and has partners Iceland carbon storage. So this is the both technological powered renewable energy source extracting carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Permafrost throwing, the latest IPCC report increasing the global warming with result in the reduction in the Arctic permafrost and thawing ground is expected to release the greenhouse gas methane and carbon dioxide. Believe that the bacteria virus can dormant for the thousands of year permafrost. Defreezing the permafrost release this microbe that into the environment potential to cause new disease. Permafrost is defined as a growth soil, rock, any induced ice and organic material that remain the below 0 degree. So permafrost is spread across area 123 million km, covering about the 15% area. The term area permafrost can be characterized continuous, discontinuous, sporadic, isolated. Most permafrost northern hemisphere 60% north and the south, and this is the ice area is more or less influenced by the permafrost. Siberia, Canada, Alaska, Greenland, and its reduction for the capacity. So this is the water released by the soil caps and the soluble include the organic matter. Next is the states of the city climate finance. So the state of the city climate finance is World Bank. So this is allocation for the leadership committing to the 2030 and aim to the closing the investment gaps and urban subnational climate projects. So it's urban climate finance flow heavily concerned OECD country and vastly insufficient among urban climate funds is the many developing country including the South Asia. For this 9% of the investment taken for the project level. Next one is glacier of the Himalaya, climate change and the black carbon and the regional resilience. So the World Bank released the Himalaya climate change and the black carbon regional resilience. It can be achieved 23% reduction but enacting new policy and incorporating them. So the regional cooperation among the achieve the enhanced benefits. Karakoram Hindu Kush mountain range where the glaciers are melting and released by the World Bank. So the glacier Himalaya climates is the from the World Bank. Next is the World Bank. World Bank is the hotspot for interclimate migrations and the Africa has largest number of internal climate refugee. State of Climate Asia reports is the World Meteorological Organization lesson for the climate action Asia and identifying pathway for addressing the critical gap and carbon dioxide level surge 4.3 part per million, so more than average will be the last decade. The Atlas of Mortality and Economic Losses from Weather, Climate and Water Extreme. So this released by World Meteorological Organization. Mortality and the economic losses and climate change extreme. So this is 50% records disaster, 45% deaths, 74% economic losses, weather, climate hazards, more than 91% deaths, developing country, number of the disasters risen, and gaps was also there. So next is the States of Climate Service report. World Meteorological Organization annual reports for the states of climate service addressing the adaptations and climate sensitive socio-economic sector. Addition focus water of this inadequate access to the water, more than 5 for the flood related disasters, 134%, drought is 29%, end-to-end riverine floods and drought forecasting is absent of the inaugurated 34 to 35% WMO. Climate risk is the right of crisis, introducing the children's and the climate risk index. UNICEF is the conceptual framework, a tool and the initial assessment for this children exposure and vulnerability to the climate environment hazards. So help to the most risk and the rank for the country based on the how vulnerable the climate's environment and stays extreme weather. So two pillars are there. One is water scarcity, riverine floods, coastal floods, tropical and the vector-borne disease, heat waves, air pollution, soil water pollution, child health, nutrition, education, water sanitation and hygiene, poverty, communication, assets and social protection. So this is Pakistan is the 14th rank, Bangladesh is 15, Afghanistan is 25, are the South Asian countries where the children are at the extreme high risk of the impact of climate crisis. Children are more vulnerable to adults. 1 billion children are at the extreme high risk. Climate Change Performance Index (CP) is the German watch increasing the transparency international climate change policy. India has retained the sports top 10 best performing for this is rank country. Denmark is the highest ranked country. Validity 16 country of the European Union and greenhouse gas emission, renewable energy and energy climate. So this is the climate policy, energy use, renewable and greenhouse gas. So German watch climate change performance index is for this top. Denmark is the highest rank. Production gap reports is released by the UNEP and a gap between the government plans production of fossil fuel and the global production level. Paris Agreement temperature limits 1.5 to 2 and as country set the net zero emission targets, increase the climate ambitions. Paris Agreement, they are not explicitly recognize the plan for the rapid reduction of fossil fuel, but world government plan to produce a 110 fossil fuel and the 2030 Mission 2070 Green New Deal of Net Zero in India. World Economic Forum for the argue that the India transition to net zero economy as the create for 1 trillion economy and for decarbonizing strategy for the major sectors almost greenhouse gas emission. Mapping India Climate Vulnerability Report and Climate Vulnerability Index. So this is the Council of Energy, Environment and Water. This is the vulnerability to extreme flood, drought and cyclone, and this is for this the exposure sensitivity and adaptive capacity. For this spatio-temporal analysis, more than 80% Indian districts vulnerable to the climate risk. Out of this, most vulnerable districts are the Dhemaji and the Nagoya, Assam, Khammam, Telangana, Gajpati is the Odisha, Vijayagram is the Andhra Pradesh, and the Sangji, Maharashtra, and the Chennai is the Tamil Nadu. Next is air pollution. New fly ash utilization rules for coals and the lignite-based thermal power plants. Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change is for has utilization deadline for the thermal power plants. Introduction penalties for the non-compliance, composition general, and the utilization of fly ash in India. Fly ash byproduct of coal power generation. It's a powder with a substantial amount of oxide, silica, aluminum, calcium. Traces of arsenic, boron, chromium, leads with the grade of the Indian coal. 35% of coal in 10% coal and lignite-based thermal power and 83% fly ash utilized for the refer to the infographic for the sectoral. So there is we can use the fly ash in the cement 26% mine, 5% bricks, 9% reclamation of low-lying area, 15 ash dikes raising 10 roads, flyover, agriculture, concrete, hydropower and utilized fly ash. Shortly, fly ash utilization cycle is like 3-year cycle for 100% utilizations, and legacy of the fly ash utilization is the 3-year cycle will be 100%, and legacy fly ash have been extended to the another year, so remains utilization and consequently get accumulated. Legacy is for this 80% of this, so the construction and transportation for this free of cost to agency engage in the construction. 300, and this is the role of the Central Pollution Control Board. Examine, review and recommend eco-friendly for the utilization and Central Pollution Control Board with real-time data on the ash. This is Ministry of Power address the issue of air pollution and stubble burning. So Ministry of Power is going for this, increasing the level of co-firing from the present 5% higher level of carbon neutral power, and taking the R&D boiler designs and facilitating overcoming the constraints of supply chain, addressing the regulatory issue of biomass co-firing, direct co-firing for the biomass coal, same furnace, indirect co-firing for the concept of solid biomass and the clean fuel, biomass gasifications, same furnace of the coal, and the parallel co-firing also will be there. So commission for the air quality management. This commission for the air quality management is national capital region adjoining to the was recently passed by the Houses of Parliament. It is for the ordinance for this. So this is the function of the commission to have a better coordination, research, identification and resolution for the program. Adjoining area Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh. Adjoining national and capital territory Delhi and NCR. Sole of authority for jurisdiction was the bill, and it's a case of conflict. Directions of the commission for will prevail order. Respective states will member secretary and the chief coordination officer, full member, 3 independent technical member. Restriction activity of the quality investment of the conducting research related to the environment and pollution. Commission for the air quality management is for this, and the investigation, the conducting research, preparing codes and guidelines, prevent the pollution, issuing the directions and the matters, regulating windings. So the parties are convention for commission for the 5 year and the 5 on up to the 1 crore rupees. Both will exclude from farmers from the scope of the penalties. However, the commission may collect an environment compensations and stubble burning. So the appeal agency are live with the National Green Tribunal. Selection committee will be there. The committee will be headed by ministry in charge of Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change. Graded response action plan is for the state's national capital of the region. Implement of this, it's a step-by-step guide for the Delhi NCR gets heavily polluted, and it was the appropriate Supreme Court order of M.C. Mehta, Union of India, Union Environment Ministry. Graded action plan for the Delhi and NCR region implements for this is to the NCR heavily polluted. So it includes the extreme measures such as the shutting down the schools, implementing the odd and even, and the rationing scheme to case of severe degradation air quality and different national air quality index categories, namely moderate, poor, very poor, and the severe and the severe plus. So this is the modernization to poor quality air 2.5 and 3 pm, washing on the roads with water, enforcing ban of the firecracker, increase the security of the pollutions. 2.5 and above, for this is the main disease of greenhouse gas, parking up to 3.4 times and stop the firewood, and urge for the people for the repository. So 2.5 and above will be there, and this is increased frequent roads cleaning and the washing, shut down the bricks and the cranes, restructuring the operation of the coal bin plants, also known for the severe PM 2.5 and PM 10. Ban entry trucks except for the essential items, halt constructions work, and begin odds and even policy. So ISRO protocol to track stubble burning. Commission has asked the Delhi adjoining states Haryana and Rajasthan to ensure the universal adoption and the application of the standards. For this is the ISRO is for estimating this, and reduce remote sensing technology will be there for collect data cohesive manner. Ban the firecracker and e-green cracker. Judgment of firecracker ban and the manufacturing sale of the use of joint firecracker or solid waste program in the soil. So ban the certain chemical composition of firecracker, barium, lithium, arsenic, and the antimony. So this is Supreme Court manufacturing sale of the green for this improved the cracker, and made the using the pollution raw material, their chemical formulation ensure the reducing the emissions and atmosphere. For this is for the green cracker and reservoir for the developed CSIR and NERI. So this available safe water reservoir and safe thematic crackers. Puja biodegradable ICAR for the accelerate the decomposure and the crop residue, including the stubble and the paddy crop and the manure. This emerging and potent solution towards the curbing the stubble burning, and also it's provided additional improving the soil quality. India top emission related crop burning reports. This is the Blue Sky Analytics and the part of the global coalition Climate Trace. Climate Trace accelerate climate action, providing the independent resolution for this. World Health Organization's air pollution standards. World Health Organization tightened global air pollution standards. So periodically issue the health-based air quality guidelines. Last published 2006 air quality guidelines global update. Evidence like there is the annual 10 and 2.5 air 25. So this is the PM. NO2 is 25, SO2 is 40, O2, O3 is 100, PM10 is 45, PM2.5 is 5 to 50, CO2 is 4. Objective update to the guidelines to the qualitative health long-term consultation, open air quality, profit making efforts to making the open source for the database aggregate achieve the air quality gathered in real time government agenda. Currently insufficient quantitative evidence, so both outdoor and indoor environment globally. So however this is guideline do not cover the occupational setting. but not legally binding. WHO guideline evidence informed tool for the policymaker to guide the legislation and policy, reduce the level of pollutions and decrease the burden of disease. So this air monitoring network agency involved the National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Program, National Air Quality Monitoring Program, and it's a 804 operation standing for cover 344 cities, and this is the Central Pollution Air Quality State Pollution Body, Pollution Control Committee, National Environment Engineering Research Institute for Nagpur. This is ensure the uniformity and the consistency of air quality data, provides the technical and financial support. Air quality standards are the NAC, and this is the 12 parameter: carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, particulate matter less than 2.5, and the 10 lead, ozone, ammonia, benzone, is arsenic, nickel. For this is the okay. National Air Quality Index is for tool for the number of simple air quality data classifying pollution level category: good, satisfactory, moderate, poor, very poor, C1, and that denotes to the color code. So this is the basis for the PM 2.5, NO2, SO2, and NH3. This is inform the public about the environment conditions. Early warning system, Indian Institute for the Tropical Meteorology, Pune, for the decision support system, ability to existing air quality, capillary air quality management, and autonomous institute in Ministry of Earth Science. So this is the warning system will be there, and the management and the around the Delhi. So it's Ministry of Earth Science is for the air quality index. This is the autonomous energy. Good is the 0 to 50, minimum impact. Satisfactory is 51 to 100, moderate, poor, very poor, and the severe affects health. Now, National Clean Air Program. So the National Clean Air Program, National Apex Committee will National Clean Air Program midterm 5-year action plan will be begin. Then target will be national level target 20 to 30% and 2.5%. Multi-sectoral collaboration, mainstreaming, integrating the existing policy and smart city framework, and smart city falling 102 non-attainments. Objective stringent implementation of the mitigation measures, augmenting the strengthening air quality monitoring and the network for the country, augmenting public awareness and the capacity building. So this is the adoption of the airsheds approach, deal with the air pollutions, policy makers, and action for the keeping the view of the geographical, meteorological, and the other factor. Instead of making the policy for this is the air quality. Increase the target, reducing the level of PM 2.5 and 2.10, 20% by 2024 and 30% by 2026. Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change is for the PM 2.5 and 2024 is for the being implementing the city, and the National Ambient Air Quality for this is the ambient air quality notified the Central Pollution Control Board of 1935. Partnership for the clean fuel and vehicle. Leaded petrol has been the eradicated. Algeria, country to use this fuel, exhausted its supply following the decades campaign by UNEP-led Global Partnership for the Clean Fuel and Vehicle. So this is Global Public Partnership Initiative launched world summits on the sustainable developments, air pollution, so the promotion of cleaner fuel and vehicle. So global elimination of the graduated decline the sulfur, as well as providing the support to different areas. Technical assistance over overcoming the local challenges and the sustain resistance from the local and the decreased productions, raising the awareness and the investing the refinery upgradation. Tetrafluoride leads or the organic leads is the use to the petrol additive to the leading the petrol, improve the engine performance, anti-knock properties, and the octane rating will be the compared. So this is the addictive petrol and the jet fuel, knocking to the engine, loss of power, rising damage to the engine. So the tetraethylates in nature absorbed rapidly by the skins and lungs and the gastrointestinal tract. Contaminations, the dust, soil, water, and disease, cancer, stroke will be there. Octane rating is known for the octane number of the octane value, identifying the percentage of the volume of the octane and the mixture of this is normal for the fuel, and this is measured fuel ability to resist the unwanted sounded due to the auto ignitions and the higher octane number. Octane number is used to measure the ignition delay and the fuel. Higher octane number maintaining the ignition, water pollution, and the conservation. capacity building initiative on making water sensitive city Ganga Basin is the launch the National Mission for Clean Ganga and the Associate Central for the Science and Environment. Water sensitive city is the holistic management for the water cycle to deliver basic service supply and sanitation while mitigating the risk, protecting the enhancing health and receive the water. National Mission for the Clean Ganga is the society under the Society Registration Act 1860, National Ganga for the other union and the states district committee prevention control and abatement of the environment pollution rejuvenation of the river Ganga as ongoing effort to the aim at the ensuring the convergence of Namami Gange mission flagship for the missions the Amrut and Smart City. Namami Ganga is the comprehensive river rejuvenation program including Ganga Basin ensure the Aviral Dhara and the Nirmal Dhara. So it's implemented 3 to 4 pilot for the Ganga Basin training program visits, webinars and technical supports. The capacity building for the river basin management, geostatistical technology, national mission for the clean Ganga as the North Asians and the advanced research and development will be there. So this is the application geospatial technology. Bhuvan water is for the body is system for the sensor derived water body information utilize general map national informatics system climate environment study will be there. India water resource information system GIS will be there. Jal Jeevan mission GIS mapping of the water sewerage. Namami Gange prevention base of map 3D mode. Dam rehabilitation improvement project. National river linking project will be there. And the CLAP was launched for the inauguration Ganga Utsav for River Festival 2000. CLAP continuous learning and activity portal. CLAP portal for the Ganga Utsav. It's initiative to Namami Gange and Tree Glage Foundation. Also the express idea about the various issues pertaining to the environment, water, river. National Mission for Clean Ganga got the registers into the Guinness Book of World Records. So this is it allow the tracking the questions, object and the reference to the specific locations, studying the real earth geographical information using the geographical information system, remote sensing, artificial intelligence and IoT, water communications. Recently special report on the human rights to drinking water sanitations for the United Nations Information UN Assembly was water is not a commonly in the financial assets. So communication commodification or water is water handled and the commodity used for the supply demand market dynamics. Tradable water price future index was launched in the Chicago, Stockholm and Nasdaq. For this is the California. So Nasdaq developed the Nasdaq index partnership will be Valley Water. Dublin Statement on Water and Sustainable Development 1992. Water should be recognized as the economic goods and appropriate and the served based on the financial assets and has been economic goods for general. So water development and the management should be based on the participations approach and involving the user plan and the policy maker. Fresh water is finite and vulnerable resource essential for sustainable life development. Water is economic value and competing use of the should be recognized economic goods. Women plays a central part in the provision management and the safeguarding the water. 1992 International Conference of Water and the Environment was Dublin, Ireland's declaration regarding the water and presented UN Conference of Environment and the Development UNCEP Rio de Janeiro at summits highlight the importance of water and resource for the environment protection and the human development. Dublin principles are standard for the consideration for the issue for the water. Biomonitoring using the environment DNA. So process of biomonitoring is for the extracting eDNA scales and the phase signals called the organisms such as bacteria and water. Analytical this genetic information matching the DNA sequence with the fresh water and chart the distribution abundance of this organism with the across the river. Testing and new method vastly expand the biomonitoring of DNA and catalog of this. Biomonitoring is a defined the act of the observing and assessing the states and ongoing exchange of ecosystem component of biodiversity landscape including the type of natural habitat and the population species. Biomonitoring has been indispensable tool studying the occupational environment exposure chemical including the persistent organic pollutant. eDNA is isolated from the environment sample, but this is DNA directly to the is originate the cellular material share the organism skin and the excrements into the aquatic and the terrestrial environment. Potential benefits is restore the water quality, save the dwindling species extinction and early detection of invasive species. So collecting the DNA and four other water samples and capture the rampant DNA thousand of the aquatic species. Traditional biomonitoring methods, scientists and individuals for this killing the wildlife identification labor cost effective. The process is for the cheap and the filters for the this will be the NU2. AIM ICDS Water Innovation Challenge. Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog is for the Denmark concluded the global final next generation water action water innovation challenge. Digital water management, monitoring preventable leakage of water supply, wastewater management, rainwater harvesting and the drinking water. So this is the water innovation challenge for the Niti Aayog. United Nations Global Compact CEO Water Mandate. So this is the become signatory and NTPC. United Nations Global Compact CEO Water Mandate is for the firm in the mobilize the business leader to advance water stewardships, sanitations and the sustainable development of the coal partnership with the United Nations government, peers, civil society and others. So mandate to the develop the tools for the resources and stakeholder and facilitated meaningful partnership and on growth collection action will be improve the conditions. Ocean Cleanup. Ocean Cleanup is a Netherlands based organizations Great Pacific of Garbage Patch. Collection of marine debris garbage in the Pacific Ocean and garbage patch will be the bounded by massive North Pacific substrate gyre. So this is the western garbage patch and located to the near Japan and eastern garbage patch located between the US states and Hawaii. Indoor first water plus city. So declare the first water plus city and the all waters released to the household commercial establishment. Details the satisfactory level before the releasing to the wastewater environment. An annual survey will be cleanliness, hygiene and the sanitation will be there. River City Alliance, Ministry of Jal Shakti and RCA dedicated platform to the city idea discuss the exchange information, networking capacity building. So this is Ganga Basin and the non-Ganga Basin, strengthen the governance aspect of the river basin. Puducherry become the Har Ghar Jal Union Territory. Puducherry is the 100% pipe water collection and Jal Jeevan Mission. UT become the Goa and the Telangana Andaman Nicobar Jal Jeevan Mission. For this is the functional tap connection water. Quality BIS 1050 standards on regular basis providing the functional tap connection. School and Anganwadi center, health centers and the wellness center will be there. Now Swastik technology for disinfecting water. So this is the hybrid technology that combine the modern technology, Indian traditional knowledge. Hydrodynamics calculation combine the chemistry, biology, chemical engineering and resource the form the natural oil and plants extract. So the disinfection of water essential. Swastik technology is for the modern technology, Indian traditional knowledge of the safe healthy drinking water. WMO vision and the strategic for hydrology and action plan is for there. India Young Water Professions. So this is the National Hydrology Projects and Central Scheme for the Australian Water Partnership. Australian Indian Water Centers will be there. An objective program to equip water professionals with the necessary skill, knowledge, behavior. Recirculatory aquaculture system RAS is will be the UK Jammu Kashmir. It's a technology where water recycles and reuse after the mechanism biological filtration, high density culture various species fish and utilize the minimum land area. So this is fish typically reach to the indoor and this is the controlled environment. Saryu Canal National Project. Saryu Canal is for the Canal National Project which is assure water irrigations start from 1978 and under the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana time-bound manner interlinking of the Gagra, Saryu, Rapti and the Bhangra and the Rohini. Land degradation, desertification and land degradation is for the recently released by the Space Application Center Ahmedabad. Land degradation defines the negative trend to the land conflict conditions caused by the direct, indirect human-induced produce, including the anthropogenic climate change, express the long-term reduction or loss of the at least one following biological productivity, ecological integrity, value of human. Forest degradation that occur forest land degradation, which is the dryland region, is termed as the desertifications and the fertile land into deserts. So socio-economic impacts, it reduce the land productivity, threatening food security, livelihood of the indigenous population, small farmer, reduce the land ability, store the water, extraction existing for the tension of the forces, migration, create a ground for the zoonotic disease, water, and the foodborne disease and the respiratory disease. And the malnutrition reduce the food's water supply, cause the extreme weather events and for the biodiversity loss, contribute to the climate change ability to the lands. Also carbon sinks and the climate sinks excrete this is magnitude of several ongoing land degradation process and introduce the new degradation pattern. Related to the concept land degradation naturally is where the amount of the quality of the land resource necessary to support ecosystem, enhance the food security, stable, increase the specific temporal spatial ecosystem. Wind erosion, water erosion, chemical natural occurrence of alkaline, chemical movement of subsoil chemical to the surface, physical waterlogging and geomorphological change caused by the mining and activity, hazards for the cyclone and the drought, permafrost serving agriculture related activity, and then improve the soil management, eutrophication, shifting cultivation, pressure on the population, livestock, land use change in habitations, mining and industry, deforestation, climate change and the pollution. Next is state of land degradation's key finding is this 29% total geographical area undergoing degradations, and it's observed undergoing desertification and degradation of water erosion, vegetable degradation and the wind erosion. And states are 23% area undergoing desertifications, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Jharkhand and all area. International efforts to combat land degradation. United Nations Convention combat desertification is the sole legally binding treaty for development to the sustainable management. It addresses the specific arid, semi-arid areas, and India has signed the ratified the treaty. COP14 Delhi Declaration adopted focus on better access to the stewardship of land, gender sensitive transport. So this is the land degradation naturally targets setting up the program, collaboration with the multiple international partners, supporting the interested country with the national land degradation targets too, that including the India committed to the setting up land degradation neutrality fund, officially called the COP13. It's the first of kind investment vehicle leveraging the public money. And global land outlook, strategic communication platform for association, UNCCD secretariat, central importance for the land quality, human well-being and land for the life program is for UNCCD and parties in this part of the Changwon initiative. Changwon initiative program seek to address the challenge of land degradation, desertification and mitigations. Land degradation, desertification and mitigations, born challenge for the government of Germany. Goal to 150 million deforestation landform restored. So this is for India has placed to restore degraded deforested land. Global initiative reducing the land degradation is existing framework to prevent, halt, reverse the degradation within the G20. Reducing the emission from the deforestation and the forest degradation. So REDD Plus is the mechanism developed by the parties. United Nations framework for the Convention of Climate Change. It's create a financial value for carbon stores and for incentive developing countries reduce the emissions from the forest carbon. India is the party to UNCCD and neutrally sustainable and land management practice agriculture sector. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, soil health card, soil health management, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, per drop more crop, which is Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change is the participatory for the management, and this is the joint forest management is partnership involving both forest department and local community. Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change is for National Afforestation Program Scheme, National Mission for Green India and the Forest Fire Prevention Management Scheme, National Afforestation Program Scheme, National Mission for Green India and the Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme. Bamboo Oasis and the Land Drought Project. Khadi Village Industry is Bamboo Oasis Land Drought for Rajasthan. This bold seek to create a bamboo-based green patch, arid semi-arid ozone, reduce the degradation, prevent desertification. Bamboo grass fast growing, typically woody. It's a tropical, subtropical, mild temperate zone. Secondly, only the China in terms of the bamboo diversity. Benefits of the bamboo cultivation is reduce the evaporation of the water, ideal rehabilitation of degraded soil. It's a African-led initiative combat desertification. Great Green Wall. It's restored the degraded landscape in the Sahel and Senegal in the west to the Djibouti east. So for every dollar its yield investor can expect to average 1.20. It's a largest living structure planet, 3 times size of the Great Barrier Reef. Plastic pollution. India Plastic Pact is for there is the worldwide fund. Indian Confederation of Indian Industry targeted based commitment aligned to circular economy and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation for the Plastic Economy Plastic Act model. First plastic UN supported to the UX innovation. 100% plastic packaging will be reusable, recyclable, and the contest of all plastic packaging for this effective recycling, unnecessary and problematic plastic packaging, and the item measure the address so the redesign the innovation. Plastic waste management amendment rule. Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change plastic waste management rule prohibit identify the single use plastic. A plastic commodity use once the same purpose of being the recycle. So this is the utility, particular environment impacts, and low utility high environment impacts. So plastic management rule are there, and the manufacturing, import, stocking, distribution, use of the plastic it's not applied to the commodity made the composite plastic, but the thickness of the plastic bags are increased at 15 micron to 75 micron. So extended producer responsibility is there for produce imports ban owner. Guideline been given the legal force, and its Central Pollution Control Board which monitoring the variations, and the penalties will be there. Ultimately effective implementation will be there, and this is develop the comprehensive action plan. Our policy is for the extended producer responsibility. It introducts the plastic waste management rule and draft. Not easy to recycle, huge carbon footprints made from the fossil fuel, high energy uses production, leaches to the toxic into the foods, drinks, and the pollutant over clean and enter to the food chain, kill the wildlife and marine life, and the can cause the cancer. UN plastic collection is for the launch UN Environment and India Confederation of India Worldwide India Global Litter Partnership Project, International Maritime Organization, the Food and Agriculture Organization is for this. Next is UN Nations and Development Program, UNDP Plastic Waste Management is program. So this is for the building existing system for reduce the impact of plastic waste and move towards the circular economy. So these two 5550 Euronema African Borge. Euronema potential biodegradable agent of plastic sheets. So it's a micro Asia produce different kind of extracellular polysaccharides, enzyme, toxin, polymer. Zero Waste City Challenge. Waste AIDS 2 winner are there for the Sri Guru Plastic, and from the Guwahati their work promoting circular economy uses of plastic. Guwahati was the among the city of the waste age. United Kingdom is profit zero waste, and this Johannesburg Ho Chi Minh find the entrepreneurship with the innovative business and can help to reduce the recycle waste. Bubble curtain. It's bubble curtains first time of India stop plastic from the entering the river Yamuna. So bubble curtain is for the plastic will be stopped and the air tube. So bring the waste surface channel the plastic onto the bank. Virtual water. It's IIT Guwahati has recommended the virtual water analysis, better water management. Virtual water is the involve the production and trade of the foods and non-food commodity is for invisible water. So it's a 3000 liter per water required to the producing the rice, and India has been losing water thereby putting the water sustainability in the risk. The right to repair movement. It's the right to repair is the need for the government legislation. So it's for the originate in the USA. Zero liquid discharge. National Mission for Clean Ganga hosted session zero liquid discharge treatment where the recovered contamination of solid waste. Okay, now next is the states of words, land and water resource for food agriculture. SOLA is for the FAO implication for agriculture demand solution for the global food system. Impact of plastic pollution on freshwater, aquatic, terrestrial and avian migratory species. So this is released by the MEASURE second project, Japan funded MEASURE project. This is to protect the convention on the conservation of migratory species. MEASURE Japan could be entered into the aquatic system annually. Major traits of the reports: entanglement of plastic waste, fishing in and food web space for the hindrance species. Black-faked spoonbill and the osprey has been observed. Migratory birds are there, plastic and resulting the entanglement of the chick. So convention of the migratory species, wild animal bone convention is there. Environment treaty for the United Nations. provide the global platform for the conservation sustainable migratory animal and habitats. Appendix 1 will be treated to extinction. Appendix 2 will be the World Benefit International Corporation from the pollution to solution, a global assessment, marine litter and the plastic pollution. UNEP is for the control the plastic emission environment, emission of the plastic waste, aquatic ecosystem. 2014 are meaningful actions. Marine litter is threat to the livelihoods. UNEP scientific base for this. UNEP is for the global assessment of marine litter and the plastic pollution. So plastic recycling is there, will be the greenhouse gas emission significance. Now next is the 15 reports of COP2 Convention of Biological Diversity. 15 reports of COP will be UN Convention on Biological Diversity held the Kunming, China. Is for Global Biodiversity Framework, Strategic Plan for Biodiversity, Aichi targets, 5th Global Biodiversity Outlook, 20 targets will be there. So targets will be conservation at least 30% of land and sea, 50% greater reduction of state introduction invasive alien species, nature-based contribution of these mitigations efforts, reduction of subsidized other financial program, harm to the biodiversity 500 billion per year, 200 billion increase the international financial flow, all mitigates adaptation efforts, 200 billion increase international financial flow, reducing the nutrient environment and the half of the pesticide, third eliminating the discharge of plastic waste. This is the adoption of the Nagoya, Japan COP10, a broad-based action to support the biodiversity. 20 targets, organization strategic goal, Aichi biological living in harmony and biodiversity is valued, conservation for wisely used, maintaining ecosystem, sustainable, healthy planets. Now next is ensure the development, adoption of implementation, effective post and reuse the current laws of biodiversity. Ensure the biodiversity is put on the path to recovery 2013 and first to the commitment to the many country project 30% of their land and the sea, and this is critical reversing this. So Kunming Biodiversity Fund will be there for 2030 million to support the project and the biodiversity. Open level to the private sectors will be there including the CEO world leader, global environment facility, UN development program, UN environment program will be there, technical support to the development global environment implementation. Cartagena protocol is the biosafety to ensure the safe handling of the transport, LMO, and the biotechnology to have adverse impact on advanced informed agreement procedure will be country to provide it information necessary to make informed decisions and biosafety cleaning facilitations. Nagoya is for the sharing biosafety arising from the utilization of genetic resources and fair equitable way. So this is assess based sharing of the cleaning house, and the Nagoya for the arising utilization genetic resources equitable way. So it's for the information access to benefit sharing. Nagoya Kuala Lumpur is for the contribute to the conservation sustainable biodiversity, providing international rules and procedures for liability of the LMO. Nagoya Kuala Lumpur is for the liability for the LMO and resulting from the modified organism which is origin the transboundary movement. Conservation of biological diversity, sustainable use of the components of biological diversity, fair and equitable sharing of the benefits, utilization of the resources, new global network for the managing nature through release the UN Convention on Biological Diversity framework guides action worldwide, preserve, protect and the nature essential service. So this is the humanity living the harmony and the nature vision 2050. At least 30% of the global land sea are conserved, 50% great reduction in the rates of the introduction of the invasive alien species, reduce the nutrient loss and the environment of the half of pesticides, and this is the 200 billion increase financial flow of the source, developing the country, managing nature, halt the extinction and the decline of biodiversity, enhance retain the nature service of the human, ensure the fair equitable benefits of all. Close to the gap, India acidity joined the high ambitions for the nature and the people. For this, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and the South Africa joining its intergovernmental group. 17 countries protecting the 30% of world land for the ocean. So this is targets will be which aim to laws of species and protect the vital ecosystem. Facilitate the creative discussion, policy makers and on biodiversity based solution to contribute to the sustainable development. Into the disclose to agenda biodiversity target pathway for the biodiversity for next decades. So co-organize the various organization of biodiversity, biological diversity amendment act. National Tiger Conservation Authority, important body for establishment of this National Board for the Wildlife, and the Central Zoo Authority. So Biological Diversity Act was recently for Lok Sabha Joint Parliamentary. It's for the conservation of biological diversity, sustainable use of component, fair and equitable sharing. Convention of Biological Diversity, Nagoya Protocol, access to the benefit sharing, and the Act Biological Management Committee are responsible for preparing the biodiversity register with keep the records of the fauna. Reduce the pressure on the wild medicines plants and encouraging the cultivation of medicinal plants. Decriminalize certain provision. Encourage the Indian system of medicine. Bring up the foreign investments and the biological resources, including the research of patent and commitment utilization, facilitating the fast tracking of the research, patent application, and transferring research while utilizing biological resources. Extension of the exemptions for the Ayush medical peoples assessing codified traditional knowledge, cultivated medical plants, products, people, and practicing indigenous medicine, including the medicines for the SBC's biological resource certain purpose, simplifying access to the biological resource, international intellectual property rights for the obtaining biological resource, including the Organization for India, and this is the foreign control company registers in India for approval before the IPR. So this needs to be the assessed biological resources must prior initiation further must registers the IPR get the approval by the NBC. So this is when a foreign company or the individual assess biological resources such medical plants and associate knowledge, it has take prior consent for the National Biological Board, and benefit sharing fee royalty imposed for the company share monetary benefits also there. Reduction certain offences and the provisions related to the state government will prescribe compositions. A state can declare the certain species, and expansion will be the 4 reservations rotation basis, one member will be there. Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill is amendment bill will be the Lok Sabha. The act provides Part 1 wildlife animal listed under the mammals, amphibian and the reptile, birds, crustaceans and insects, wild animal, insects and the mammals, reptile, beetle, wild animal under the mammal, wild animal under the mammal, birds and the vermeil and the notified area. So the covered into the scheduled animal article. Scheduled animals are the occurred absolute protection of higher penalties. Dealing with the article and the topics prohibits from the section 49 of Wildlife Protection Acts hunting of this animal. Dealing with the part first of the required to the part second definition of the scheduled area. Dealing with the animal articles and the hunting is prohibited. Dealing with these items animal articles and this is hunting prohibited. Okay, next one is in empower the declared protection area, national park, wildlife sanctuary, community reserves and conservation reserve. 6 is for the special protection, specially protected animals are there, vermin species are there. So rationalization of the schedule, the bill will be the reducing the number of schedules specified, removing the schedule vermin, inserting the schedules of the sites animal to be declared as a vermin by the way of the notifying by the central government any area. Controlling invasive alien species, empower the central government to regulate the prohibit import, trade, possession, prohibit invasive alien species. Sites is for the management of the authority for the grants the export, import, or permit schedule specimen. Scientific authority which is give the advice to the related to impact of survival of specimen. Identification of sites, management authority may be used identification mark, modification, removal of the identification. Registration certificate will be there. IUCN is the convention was finally 1975 entered to ensure the international trade specimen, wild animal and the plants. Site secretariat will be the UNEP Geneva, Switzerland, and although sites legally binding party on the party it's Geneva, Switzerland, and have implement the convention. It does not take the place of national law, but site work the subjecting international trade in the specimen selected species central control. So species covered sites was listed in the 3 applicant. Appendix 1 which was the extension, Appendix 2 threatened, and with the extension Appendix 3 species regulation of the jurisdiction of the parties which coordinate to the other parties. Extension but many become the unless to the regulated extension international commitment generally prohibited and it's allowed to the controlled, but this there is no control certain species with the extension. So this is the new section 42A was surrender captive animal. Any person voluntarily surrender any captive animal products. Chief Wildlife Warden. No compensation will be paid for the person for the surrender, such as the item. For item become the penalties will be the violation of the law, including the film making is for causing the habitat. One of the purpose will be the may granted allow for the transfer of transport lives and elephants having a ownership certificates. Certain activities such as the grazing and the livestock bona fide use the drinking household water community shall be considered non-prohibitive. A state board of wildlife permitted to constitute a stating body. Preamble to the act amended to include the aspect of conservation and management of wildlife, declare the conservation reserves and the central government to call for the information of EU directions, international act. No renewal for the arts like granted to the person residing. Now Maharashtra become the first state to release the wildlife action plan and initiate integrating the climate change adaptation wildlife conservation first for the wildlife action plan for legal wildlife trade and wildlife health management approved the boundary Tadoba Andheri. Protecting of the plants variety and the farmer rights act. So protection of plant variety and the farmer rights authority is for the recognized plants variety for the PepsiCo India. So this is the enacted 2001 and the article 227 to 3b agreement trade related aspect intellectual property is for the confirming international union protection of new variety of the plants UPOD 1978. It's an intergovernmental organization to provide the promote effective system of the plants variety protection, aim encouraging the development new variety of the plants, and introduction intellectual property protection for the agriculture. World IPR legislation will be the grant intellectual property rights not only plant but also to the farmer to recognize the protect the right of the farmer respect to their contribution conserving improving making available for the genetic resources, accelerate the agricultural developments and the right stimulate investment research development PPP, facilitate growth of the seed industry country to ensure the availability of high quality seeds. So protection of plants variety and the rights of the authority it's to implement the provisions for the Department of Agriculture and Ministry of Agriculture register of new plants variety developing the distinction and uniformity stability of guidelines, facilitate development of commercialization of new varieties and recognizing the rewarding the farmers so that particularly tribal rural communals for the conservation maintenance of the gene bank preservation of the plant genetic resources plant variety protection appellate tribunal will be there. For eligibility is a new variety extant variety farmer variety and essential derived variety. So breeder rights are for the exclusive right to produce sale market distribute imports and the researcher rights are for the registered variety of the acts including the research and farmer rights are for the entitled registration of protection like article 39 is act allow the farmer cultivation register variety of the rights to save use sow resow and exchange share the farm produce and including the seeds. Section 39 of the act provides the compensation to the farmer for the non-performance of variety and this is national gene fund is there. Wildlife and conservation possibly extinct species in number of animal of the plant listed is possibly extinct in latest for the IUCN. So estimate where preserves and the population possibly extincts are there. There is the otter, hairy nose otter, cheetah, peafowl, green peafowl, bunting and bovine funds together. South Asia, Sumatra, Java, rhino, Osteona, Brahma, Belangari, a fish species of Manipur, Ostia, Belangari. So these are the butterfly, dwarf swordfish, fire coral, largest terrestrial arthropods, and the fishes Bovary barb, native to the Kaveri, Diolali minnow, Deccan barb, Nilgiri mystis, found the Deccan bird, pink-headed duck, and Siberian crane, Bati for Malayo. So this is the world oldest global environment organization established 1948 IUCN. It's a global oldest environment organization. So it's for the conservation of nature, accelerate transition, sustainable development. Gland and Switzerland. IUCN is the Gland Switzerland. It has more than 1400 member government and civil society. So 1400 member Gland and Switzerland. Every 4 year IUCN convenes the IUCN World Conservation Congress to shape global conservation. IUCN readily stated species the global standards for the assessing the risk of extinctions individual species animal fungus and the plants. So this extinct is no reasonable doubt that the last individual has died extinct to the wild is known only to the survive to the captivity cultivation well outside in natural range. Critically endangered for the extremely high risk. Endangered is very high risk. Vulnerable is high risk of extinction. Endangered is facing very high risk. Vulnerable facing the high risk of extinction of wild. Near threatened is close to the quarrying or likely to qualify for the threatened category in the near future. Least concerns are the population stable enough that it is unlikely to face extinction in near future. Data deficiency where is no data is available. So this is the key features. IUCN over 900 species of animal become the extinct. Green status IUCN is the officially for assessing species recovery and measuring conservation. Representation of the species recovery score for conservation impacts, conservation of legacy, conservation dependence, conservation gain. So this metric qualify the difference between the green scores of species in different states. Some of the green species are pink pigeon, Mauritius, burrow bettong, Australia, Sumatra rhino, Indonesia. Komodo dragon, world's largest living lizard, is Indonesia. Komodo dragon is the Indonesia lizards. Albacore tuna and the yellowfin tuna as for the least concern. And Komodo dragon is the endangered. Komodo dragon is endangered. Yerakud de Greco is endangered, and Satara Greco is critically endangered. Yellow monitor is endangered. Recently, IUCN 5 bird species, fin weaver, IUCN endangered. Fin weaver is the Tarai grassland, Uttarakhand. Destruction of Tarai habitats of fin weaver there. Lizard florican, IUCN critically endangered, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat florican and this grassland lowland. Nicobar imperial pigeon, it's a near threatened, and this evergreen forest of Nicobar pigeon of imperial pigeon. Green imperial pigeon, that is the near threatened. And Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, China, mangrove grasslands. Mountain hawk eagle is near threatened. Mountain hawk eagle near threatened. Indian subcontinent, Indonesia, South Asia, China, Japan. Conservation assured tiger standards. So this Global Tiger Day is Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change. Conservation assured tiger standards for this. This is the Manas, Kaziranga, Orang, Assam, Sundarban, West Bengal, Valmiki, Bihar, Dudhwa, Uttar Pradesh, Panna, Kanha, Satupura, Pench, Madhya Pradesh, Annamalai, Muddumalai, Tamil Nadu, and Parambiculam, Kerala, and the Bandipur is Karnataka. Their survival is not our hand, but the case is globally accepted conservation tool for best standard of manage the tiger assessment. So tiger are the first species elected to the initiative, and Global Tiger Forum Worldwide Fund India is implementing for the partners. National Tiger Conservation Authority is being adopted use beyond the tigers, and this is tiger or Royal Bengal tiger or Panthera tigris. Tiger species native to India. Habitat is Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. India is home to the 70% of global tiger. Distribution of India. Madhya Pradesh has the maximum number of tiger. Largest contiguous tiger reserves are the Nargol and the Bandipur, Wayanad, Madhumalai and the Satyamangalam tiger. Nagarhole, Bandipur, Wayanad, Madhumalai and the Satyamangalam. Corbett, highest tiger density. A flagship umbrella species is the important conservation umbrella. Centrally sponsored scheme Project Tiger M-Strip intensive to declare national animal of India. Global Tiger Initiative is the tiger inhabited 13 country placed to the double China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Nepal, Russia, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Bhutan. 2022 under the Petersburg Declaration, India already achieved target doubling the counts. Global Tiger Forum Integrated Tiger Habitat Conservation Program, Global Tiger Recovery Program. They are the bound to the Simplipal Tiger Reserve, Odisha, and Black Tiger. So this is the amino peptidase is for the cause the black stripes in the broaden and the splits. Simplipal associated tiger is for the inbreeding, and the anomalous phenotypes is for the merge. So loss of genetic diversity and the loss of heterozygotes. All India elephants tiger population and estimations. So World Elephant Day is the Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change. All India elephants tigers. This country is the M-Strip monitoring the system of tigers and GPS system. Other techniques are the cameras, sighting and the trapping country footprints. For this is the 3 subscript Asian elephants, Indian, Sumatra, Sri Lanka. National Heritage Animal of India. Project Elephant is centrally sponsored scheme for 5 years and 32 elephants reserves in India. Southern region is the comprising the Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andaman Nicobar Samu, and the highest population is Karnataka, Assam and Kerala. Asian elephants are highly intelligent animals characterized by a strong family bond, sophisticated for communications. They form the herds related to the oldest female matriarch. They have the longest gestation periods, and adult males are less social. Female enter a mate searching strategy. Next is the IUCN endangered, savanna elephants endangered, and the forest elephants critically endangered. So largest size 4000 8000 kg, larger fan shaped ear, single dome shape, skin is wrinkled, both the male and females are tusk and concave. So this is the forest elephant critically endangered, and this is smaller rounded ear, and only some Asian elephants have tusk. Tusk is absent in females. Convex shaped elephants are tallest point. Project Rehab, reducing the elephant human attack using the bees. So Khadi and Village Industry Assam is a rehab is for bee fence are setting up the boxes in passageway of the elephants to block entrance of human territory. Boxes are connected with the string to when elephants attempt to pass through. So this cuts the swan and the elephant's hubs under disuse. So this is cost effective way to reducing the human wild conflict. Recently, Chhattisgarh government has reduced the area of the Lamru Elephants Reserve. So this Lamru Elephant Reserve is proposed to prevent the human-elephant conflict of Chhattisgarh, and area proposed to part of the Hasdeo Aranya Forest. National Dolphin Research Center is for the India and the Asia first National Dolphin Research Center, permission of Patna University. The center is being set up the Ganges as per the recommendation of steering committee. Project Dolphin. Bihar has the natural advantage in the 50% of world river dolphin is there. Gangetic river dolphin in India, national aquatic animal, and the freshwater dolphin is there. For the Baiji is the Yangtze river China. Boto is the Amazon river. Bulan is for the river of Pakistan. So habitat of Gangetic dolphin endemic to the India. Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna, Karnafuli is there. Karnali and the Sapta Koshi and Nepal. Reliable indicator for the health, blinds and determining location, objection of the reflected sound, turbulent water, enough fish for their feed, leave to the zone of there is a little no current helping them, energy sense, danger and deep water, and current zone to the edge of the hunt the fishes, mammals is there, cannot be breathed in the water. So this is the females are larger in the male. National Mission for Clean Gangas for Conservation Action Plan Project Dolphin announced to be the Project Tiger enhanced the dolphin. So they implemented Ministry of Climate Change, use the modern technology, engage with the fishermen also. IUCN endangered and only found lower part of the Indus and Pakistan river Bias and the state aquatic of Punjab. Indian Ocean humpback dolphin endangered. So this is the South Asia in the south part of the Africa and the Middle East. So is a humpback is for endangered. Irrawaddy dolphin is the endangered also, and this is the Gange Chilika Lake in the Southern Asia Mekong River. Poaching of the dolphin, fragmented population and dam and barrage have degraded downstream. Unintentional killing of the entanglement fishing gear, habitat destruction due to development project construction and the water pollution and the municipal sewage overexploitation and the widespread use of the non-selective fishing gear. Cheetah reintroduction plan. Recently, Government of India has launched the cheetah reintroduction. It's a 19th meeting of the National Tiger Conservation Authority. Viable cheetah meta populations that cheetahs perform function role of the top predator, provides space to the expansion of the cheetah. So this is the efforts to 12 African cheetah, different subspecies of this from Namibia to the South Africa. Locally extinct the cheetah in the India is found in the Iran, critically endangered. Not possible to source critically endangered Asiatic cheetah. But Kuno National Park is Madhya Pradesh's world's largest intercontinental animal translocation. During the devoid of human settlements, former the Shonar Shivpur deciduous open forest was there. Kuno is for the offer protect the housing of the big cats and tiger, lion and the cheetah. So Naurab Dehi Wildlife Sanctuary is in the Madhya Pradesh, and Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary is also Madhya Pradesh. Naura Dehi Gandhi Sagar is for the Binsrongarh Wildlife Sanctuary Council in Madhya Pradesh. Naura Dehi Madhya Pradesh. Mukundra Tiger is for the Rajasthan, and Shangar Balje is the Jaisalmer, Rajasthan. Important location: cheetah conservation flagship species revive the grasslands, and grasslands are hugely for the habitat of despite the largest Schedule 1 Protected Animal Wildlife Protection Act. They are fastest mammals can survive dry forest, grassland, open plain, and desert region. Only large carnivores have got the completed wide for the India. So mainly overhunting and habitat loss is problem. Vulnerable African cheetah is vulnerable and Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered. Appendix 1 and Appendix 1. African is the vulnerable, that is the East Africa, and this also Iran. Bigger in the size, it's a smaller in the size. Diverse diets due to the bigger habitat. Limited source, especially medium size. Asiatic cheetah is slightly bigger and the African cheetah is slightly smaller. This is vulnerable African and the Asiatic cheetah is the critically endangered. Red Sender. Red Sender is for the endangered category in the international conservation nature. This is near threatened but now again been classified endangered. So IUCN says the 3 generation. It's a Ministry of Commerce and Industry export policy. Export of red sender is obtained to cultivation of the land. So non-fragmented variety of sandalwood rocky hilly region. Habitat Indian endemic is 3 species. Geographical range in the eastern Ghats of the India. So endemic to the district trek to the forest in Andhra Pradesh. And this is the red sender, red shoulder. So this is timber industry, highly demanded domestically, internationally. Rare wavy grain for highly valued to Japan. Medicinal value is wood to the center for the trunk used this use for removal the tan. Ayurveda and eye disorder will be reduced. Antipyretic and anti-inflammatory. Exploit to the extraction sanitation. So this is for the anthropogenic habitat, illegal trade, and invasive species of the disease. So this is the morphological characteristics: tree, clear trunk and dense rounded crown. So this is Santolin dye, and as floral characteristics is rapidly next February there will one of the seed spot and the reddish color, and this is for the wavy grainy straight and occur patches in the deciduous forest of the southwestern Ghat of Sri Lanka. Deciduous forest, okay, and this is the well drained for the red soil, regenerated well, hot climate and dry and hot climate, rainfall 800 mm to 1000 mm annually. Mahashir is for the blue find. It's IUCN critically endangered and now moved to the least concern. So its Mahashir is the Mahi shape for the tiger, is also referred to the tiger among fish, important indicator of fish water ecosystem. Habitat is 47 subspecies. Prefer clean, fast flowing of the well organized water. Sensitive dissolve to the level water temperature, sudden climatic change. Fishing, construction and the dam for the does not expectedly but the defining the wild animal. IUCN is the endangered and the least concerned now. It's found to the river Kaveri, critically endangered. Humpback mahseer is the critically endangered. Mahseer is the endangered, and humpback mahseer critically endangered. Red find mahseer, chocolate mahseer, northeastern red find is in central India. So mahseer is 1971 for the Tata Power and the Central Institute of Fishery Education. Lonavala, Maharashtra, Walwal Hatchery. So this is project finally born fruits spanning 15 years. India first cryptogamic garden. First cryptogamic garden is for the lichen fungi inaugurated in the Uttarakhand. So this is the word cryptogenic originate to the Greek word crypto, meaning the hidden, and the gamin is to marry. Cryptogenin refer to the hidden reproductions, and cryptome is for the species extinct to the Jurassic era. Does not produce any seeds, flower, but algae, biophiles, lichen and fungi. So the Uttarakhand was chosen because of the low pollution level. Next is the algae. Algae is the food ingredient used to be liquid fertilizers. Algae is the food ingredient, and the biophyta molasses and the monitor air pollution, prevent the soil erosion, help to the soil isolations and indicate the mineral deposits. Ferns, ornamental plants. Lichen is the pollutions monitor, source of nutrition, snail, termites and all that. Asian waterbird census. 7 wetlands for the Hastinapur Wildlife Sanctuary, and the Dandori and Sultanpur wetlands is Greater Noida, Delhi, and the Sanjay Lakes, Okhla Wildlife Sanctuary, Navagarh Jheel and the Yamuna River. Conducted January for the Wetlands International South Asia and the Bombay Natural History. So this is the Wetland International Monitoring Program, and Africa, Europe, West Asia, and the Neotropics and the Caribbean. So, National Action Plan for Conservation of the Migratory Birds for formula in water bird population during the non-breeding, and this is for the to monitor the annual basis. World first 5 country biosphere reserve. So 5 countries is Amazon of the Europe and the Mura, Dava, Danube river stretch across the Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, Hungary, and Serbia. Is floodplain forest for the meadow. It's for the continental Europe highest density breeding of the white-tailed eagle and endangered species of the black stork, otter, beaver, and the sturgeon. So biosphere reserve terrestrial coastal ecosystem is there. Local community and all international stakeholders will be there. Biodiversity and the culturally diverse economical development, logistics support design under the International Man and Biosphere Program. UNESCO is enhancing the relationship between people and the environments. World Network for the Biosphere Reserve MAB is dynamic interactive network. 77 Biosphere Reserve is 133 one country including 22 transboundary sites and Biosphere Reserve of India Man and Biosphere. Now, cold desert in the Himachal Pradesh, Nanda Devi is Uttarakhand, Kanchenjunga is Sikkim, Manas is the Assam, Dibang is for the Arunachal Pradesh, Dibu Sokoya Assam, Sundarban is for the West Bengal, Nakrek is for the Meghalaya, Simplipal for the Odisha, Sheshachalam for the Andhra Pradesh, Gulf Manar for the Tamil Nadu, Great Nicobar for the Nicobar, Agastyamalai for the Kerala, Nilgiri for the Kerala, Great Run of Kutch for the Gujarat, Rambanna for the Madhya Pradesh, Achar Kamar Amarkantak for the Madhya Pradesh, and Panchmani for the Madhya Pradesh. Geotourism sites. So geographical survey of India has geotourism sites in the northern visit of the unlock. So 12 location northeastern includes geotourism of geo heritage of the country. Majuli, Assam is Iceland among the largest Majuli, and Sangatesar T20 Sangetasar so Arunachal Pradesh during the major earthquake. Loktak Manipur is the Fumdis are there. Kebul Lamjao Park is the natural habitat of the Sangai, and the Mauch Cave Meghalaya is there for the Maui and the Gold Meghalaya, Mauch Cave Meghalaya, and the Maui Gold Rock Meghalaya. Other significant signs are the Stromelotite Sikkim, Naga Hill Ophiolites, and the Riang Tang Majoram, Sangtirtha So Arunachal Pradesh, Unnakoti and the Chabipura is the Tripura, Unnakoti Chambipura is the Tripura, Umananda is the Assam, and the Theri Ghat is the Meghalaya. Umananda Assam and the Theri Ghat in the Meghalaya. Umananda is the Assam and Theri Ghat in the Meghalaya. So globally, UNESCO declared the global geopark. No global geopark is in India. There is, but the geographical GSIs for the monuments will be in Dihing Patkai National Park. So Dihing Patkai is the 7th national park of the states, and the most national park is Madhya Pradesh 12 and Andaman Nicobar 9. So earlier the government are Raimona Reserve Forest as a 6th national park in the Assam, Kokrajhar districts. Now Pipsu Wildlife Sanctuary, Bhutan to the north, Muksa Tiger Reserve West Bengal to be the west, Manas National Park in the Assam and east, Golden Langur and the Clouded Leopards Indian Gore, Golden Langur, Clouded Leopard and Indian Gore. So the 5 of the national park is Kaziranga, Manas, Namiri, Orang, Dibu Sokoya. So this is the national park Madhya Pradesh and the Andaman and Nicobar. This is the Raimona Reserve Forest and Dihing Patkai in the Assam. Dihing Patkai Wildlife Sanctuary is the Jyopur Reserve Forest and the western block of the upper Dihing region. Dihing Patkai is the Jyopur Reserve and the upper Dihing. So rivers are the Dirak and the Buri Dihang River, and this besides is the Dihing Patkai Elephant Reserve is home to the important species like the tiger, Chinese pangolin, slow lories, clouded leopards, highest concentration of the rare endangered wild winged wood duck, highest concentration of the white winged and duck. Wildlife Sanctuary. A wildlife sanctuary is the area of the animal habitat there surrounding protected from the sort of disturbance. Wildlife Protection Act is for the human activity allowed inside the sanctuaries. National Park is for the use of the conservation, and this is for the wildlife sanctuary. For 1972 give the center state government power to the declare certain national park. Community reserves or conservation reserve. This is the Wildlife Act 1972. for the established the typically buffer zone to connect the migration corridor between the established national park, wildlife sanctuary and the protected forest India. Conservation of this completely on Government of India and it's a maximum for the state of Meghalaya. Tiger Reserve National Park for the Wildlife Sanctuary is the Project Tiger will be the administered National Tiger Conservation Authority. Core and critical tiger habitats which is managed as an innovative buffer for this. Critical Tiger Habitat Wildlife Protection Act state government to keep the in purpose of tiger conservation. Marine protected area is for this ozone and the human activities for this. Biosphere reserves UNESCO 18 biosphere reserves world national for the biosphere. Bird sanctuary 17 bird sanctuaries are there. Natural conservation zone NGT committee assesses the protection of natural conservation zone. National capital region of planning for this is natural conservation zones strictly include the commercial residential protected special agriculture zone. So Kaveri Delta is the protected special agriculture zone. So this is for ensure the particular region granted permission for new projects. Now next is protected area and news. Valmiki Tiger Reserve in the Bihar. Raimona National Park is in Assam. Manas, Kaziranga, Orang, Buksa in the West Bengal. Bhitarkanika in the Simplipal, Guru Ghasidas. Attapakka Bird Sanctuary that is in Odisha. Koringa in the Andhra Pradesh and the Kondinya Wildlife Sanctuary Andhra Pradesh Kondinya and Kajuveli in the Tamil Nadu. Sriviputtur Mangamallai in the Tamil Nadu and Annamalai and the Parvambi Kulam in the Kerala. Sanjay Gandhi is Maharashtra. Panna in the Madhya Pradesh. Ramgarh Vishdari that is in Rajasthan and the Ranthambore Kumbhalgarh Bird Sikhga Wildlife Sanctuary Himachal Pradesh. Bird Sikarga Valmiki in the Bihar. So these are the some wildlife sanctuary. Andhra Pradesh is Kondanya Wildlife Sanctuary. Kondanya is the important feature of the Pallamar and the Kuppam forest, Chittoor districts of Andhra Pradesh, and the river of Kanangiya and the Kegai tributary of Pallar River. Palar River, Kegai and the Kangundia River will be there. And the Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary geographically in the eco-sensitive zone was there. So Koringa is also for the Gotami and the Godavari River, Kakinada, largest mangrove forest, nesting ground of olive ridley. Attapakka Bird Sanctuary. Attapakka is for the important feature of the Kolleru Krishna water. Attapakka is also in Andhra Pradesh and this is for the located largest freshwater lake and grey pelican and the painted stone. Raimona National Park, Assam and the national park. This is the Manas, Namiri, Orang, Dribu, Sokoya, Olive Ridley. The Raimona National Park is the borderline territory region, westernmost Ripu River and this is buffer for the Manas and this is the Indo-Bhutan and integral of Manas River. And this Senkosh is for the boundary moist deciduous forest. Orang National Park is for the expand to the park reintroduction of Gadial and wipe out the Brahmaputra river system. So it's Orang is one of the 7 national park in Assam. Kaziranga, Manas, Namiri, Dibu, Sokoya and the Raimona at Wildlife Sanctuary for the national park. Mini Kaziranga also Orang. Manas National Park is for the Himalaya Hotel, UNESCO Natural Heritage and Manas River and the semi-evergreen forest. Pygmy hog is largest population of the Bengal floricon. Kaziranga National Park is for the recently for the remove the all illegal construction in the animal and the Kaziranga and the geographical locations of important feature edge of the eastern Himalaya and hotspot of Golaghat and the Nagaon for Brahmaputra. It's a Karbi analog districts. Tropical moist deciduous forest, great Indian rhinoceros and the elephants will be there. Valmiki Tiger Reserve. So this is for the started planning conservation of vultures and birds of the recently. So vultures are Himalaya region for the Bihar bordered Nepal and so this is the easternmost of the Himalaya Tarai region and tiger for the Bihar Gangetic plains of the geographical zone of the Babar and Tarai river Gandak and the Tarai region. Champa tree tiger, sloth bear, leopards. Guru Dasidas Park and the Tamor Pingla Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is for the Timor. It's for the is a location of the Udanti Sitanadi. Achar Kamar Indravati is for the provide the corridor to the tigers and the Palamu tiger reserves. Next is Delhi Biodiversity Park. This is Yamuna floodplain, and next is Haryana Bir Sikargarh Wildlife Sanctuary is oriented wide-backed vulture and situated the Panchkulla, Haryana. Eco-sensitive zone, flora and fauna. Permaculum Tilak Sanctuary is the Earth Guardian Award. So this is for that. Bir Sikalgarh Wildlife Sanctuary critically endangered oriented whiteback vulture were released to the wild first time in the India. Bir Sikalgarh Wildlife Sanctuary oriented whiteback vulture situated to Panchkula, Haryana. Its houses to vulture conservation, fauna and flora. Kerala is Parambikullam Tiger Reserve. So this is for the Earth Guardian Award, first to supporting the conservation of tiger and biodiversity. Geographical location. Other important features for the Nalimpethi Annamalai sub-units, Western Ghats, Kerala, and the Parambicular, Tamil Nadu. Kariya and Shola is for the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Parambikulam, Sholapur, and Terakeddi. Evergreen forest, moist deciduous forest, and grasslands are there. Loin-tailed macaque is the Nilgiri tahar, and the Bengal tiger, Indian leopards will be there. Panna Tiger Reserve is recently over 30 tiger migrated to Panna, located to the North Vindhya range and the over TR in entire Bundelkhand region. For the North, Madhya Pradesh is spread over the Panna and the Chhatarpur districts. Only tiger source which is connected to the tiger population of Aravali Vindhya range and Biosphere Reserve of the World Network Biosphere Reserve Madhya Pradesh and Panna National Park is river Kane and the Perenniar River for the tributary of Yamuna. Sanjay Gandhi National Park is Maharashtra is the Vihar, and Tulsi is Kanheri Cave, important Buddhist learning center for the pilgrimage sites. Next is the Bhitarkanika National Park, that is Bhitarkanika conserve mangrove and biodiversity of the Odisha, support implementation livelihood oriented conservation for the activity and the community for the sustainable livelihood. Geographical locations is the Bhitarkanika National Park, Odisha, Kendrapada, India's second largest mangrove forest. Mangrove protected region is Cyclone, where the for fast designed national park and Ramsar sites of UNESCO. Brahmani and the Betarni and the Damra and the Manati River. Simpliwal Tiger Reserve is for the national park and Odisha Mayurbhanj for design Tiger Reserve Project Tiger Biosphere Reserve UNESCO World Network Biosphere Reserve is Mayurbhanj. For this Kundlia River is the Burbalanga, Palpala and the Saladi and the Kanheri and the Dio. So Simplipal in the Odisha. Rajasthan Ramgarh Vishtari. रिचुअल्स को हटा दो ना, ये बहुत खराब लगते हैं. Ramgarh Vishtari Sanctuary is for the Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change for the Rajasthan Bundi. Ramgarh Vishtari will be the like of the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve and the Mukundra Hill for this Sariska. Now Kumbhalgarh Todgarh Sanctuary is for the National Tigers Conservation Authority. Possibility of the declaring Rajasthan Kumbhalgarh Wildlife Sanctuary. This is isolated the forest, no connectivity of Ranthambore, and geographical surrounding to the popular Kumbhalgarh forest and the Kumbhalgarh Wildlife Sanctuary cover the mountain range of the Aravali and the Kumbhalgarh range. Next is the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. This is the eastern part of the Rajasthan, Aravali and the Vindhya Hill. Comprises Ranthambore National Park and the Savai Mansingh. So Tamil Nadu is for the recently Annamalai Tiger Reserve and Shivi Puruthur Mangamalai. Annamalai is an important feature of the southern western Ghats, and this is where evergreen semi-evergreen forest. Shivi Puthuar Mallamallai is largest tiger reserve of Tamil Nadu. Puthumar Mega Mallai, Puthumar proper of the Periyar Tiger Reserve, and this is the mixed tropical evergreen deciduous forest. Kajuvalli is also Tamil Nadu Wildlife Sanctuary. This is for the second largest brackish water wetland, largest wetland. Central Asians for this is the resting for the eastern or eagle or greater spotted eagle, red-necked falcon, rare migratory for the pulicats. Buxa tiger reserves as Buxa Royal Bengal tiger has been spotted Buxa tiger. So this is 23 is the estimates extension of extreme biodiversity of India and represent a highly endemic to the Malaya. Aliyapur subdivision of Jallai Pallai district. Pipsu Wildlife Sanctuary is the Bhutan. Manas National Park is also there. International Corridor of Elephant Migration of Bhutan. Sankosh, Raidak and the Jayanti for Tarai ecosystem fragile. So next is the key fauna. Asiatic lion. Asiatic lion is the smallest in the African is the smaller in the Asiatic, larger, relatively dense, lighter mane, absent like skin is absent. Longitudinal skins are run along with the belly, and pride size is the criteria size is the larger Asiatic, and African is smaller. Male Asiatic lion is the solitary nature and loose prides associated with them. Okay, and the trait is vulnerable to disease disasters, and the habitat population limited. Gir National Park, Pania Sanctuary. Okay, and the Asiatic lion is 3 females are there. It's a Girnar, Pania and Mitiala Sanctuary, Girnar, Paniala, Mitiala Sanctuary. Conservation measure Asiatic lion conservation project will be there from a centrally sponsored scheme and study to be the Center Cellular Molecular Biology, Hyderabad. For this is the Hukul gibbon. Protection is the Hukul gibbon will be the only ape present in the India. Okay, Odisha is the big hug population of the double to the 6th year. Big hub is the considered to be the fastest animal of the world next cheetah. Black hawk buck is the sexual demonstration social in group. Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab is a semi-desert region of the dry forest, scrubland, open woodland. India species widespread Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. Conservation plan Blackbug is for the Blackbug Conservation Reserve in India. Trans Yamuna is there for the Meja Forest Reserves. So Assam government set the 2400 rhino for this busting of this rhinoceros. Greater protection status is the greater one-horned rhino is for the male rhino is there, and cover the skin is thermoregulations. Very good swimmer and can run fast. Threat to the poaching and the medical purpose. Habitat loss, low genetic diversity. Alluvian Tarai savanna. Nepal, Bhutan, Pakistan, India, and Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Assam. 71% are the world population. Assam's Kaziranga. Indian Rhino Vision is 2020 Special Rhino Protection Force, National Rhino Conservation Sanctuary, Ministry of Environment. Elusive Singai is the Nagaland cited to the Nagaland. Clouded leopard, so it's the smallest large wildcat. Habitat non-habitat low elevations and evergreen reforestation. Conservation measure will be the Meghalaya. Fishing cat is for the Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary, Andhra Pradesh. So the nocturnal animal habitat loss due to the development and the wetland intensive aquaculture. Chilika Lake, foothill of the Himalaya, and along with the Ganga, Brahmaputra, and the river valley of the West Ghats. Polar bear is the recent study of this is might disappeared by 2100. Polar bear are largest bear of the Asiatic top predator. Polar bear 50% of the hunting for the foods marine mammal, and this is for the repellent melting sea ice from the from the climate change. Habitat is Arctic and the archipelago. Conservation measures are also there. Giant panda for the endangered. So this is the IUCN classified the vulnerable. Giant panda is endangered. Now it's vulnerable. Giant panda is panda bear. Bamboo is the favorite food. And habitats is the Conservation Wildlife Fund and for the mountain of central India. Aquatic species is the Indian first conservation reserve, Dugong Park Bay, Tamil Nadu. Sea cow, it's for the herbivorous and the marine mammal. Dugong order Sirenia, ling of the surface breadth and 70 or more. Female dugong is 2.27 years. So sister, it's a status sea cow, shallow area and threat to the habitat loss. MOU's Conservation Management Dugong is habitat by UNEP Conservation Migratory Species Dugong Sea Grass are the Conservation Project Global Environment Facility UNEP. Olive ridley is for the Rushikea for the Odisha Ganjam. So it's a smallest, most abundant turtle and olive green color for its heart-shaped snail carnivorous. Olive ridley is a carnivorous and mass nesting of the Aribada. So it's for the Pacific Atlantic. Rushikulya River is considered to be the biggest. Conservation measure is for the mandatory turtle exclusion device. Operation Oliva exercise is there for safe olive ridley. Taking olive ridley turtle, Gahir Matha and the Devi River. Gharial is for the protected status. Gharial major threat is all that and its crocodile. Their robust contain sensory cells and Schedule 1, Appendix 1, IUCN. Gharial is the found majorly Chambal River, Ramganga River, Satkosia and the Mahanadi and the Gharial Magar and the saltwater least concern. Magar is the vulnerable, Gharial is the endangered, saltwater is the least concern. Indian Crocodile Conservation Projects is Kukari Gharial Rehabilitation Center. Magar is vulnerable and the Gharial well endangered and the saltwater is the least concern. Avian species Bihar decided to take the greater adjacent storks GPS tracker monitor their movement. The long-necked large bird mount of Vishnu, thus known the Garuda, and farmed by killing rats and other farm pests. So greater adjacent storks is there in Bihar, and the greater Indian busters is critically endangered sword chiria and can easily fly, and its sown chiria bustard in the found in the Great Florican, Lesser Florican, Bengal Florican, shrinking of grassland, rising number of electricity. Arid, semi-arid, largest population is Rajasthan. Importance deserts national park, Vadodara, Maharashtra, Bellary, Naila, Gujarat. Proper Project Godawan, Rajasthan State Government for the recovery of the MK Rajasthani Union of India is given a limit 1 year to data and the mandatory to power lines laid to the state birds of Rajasthan. Sport billed pelican and the pelicans Philippines. So this is the monetary for pelican. So it's a gastrointestinal system. So hunt for the food in the both fresh water and marine water. Live in the lowland of fresh water and the brackish water marine wetland. Pelican birds are for the Atavaka Bird Sanctuary, Koleru, Andhra Pradesh. Okay, next is the Kezare Hind Imperialis. This is a state butterfly Arunachal Pradesh. Kezare is an imperialistic state butterfly Andhra Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh is the leaf and temperate evergreen forest. Its presence indicates the existence of good forest ecosystem. Brood X cicadas. So cicadas known for the brood X brood is the Plantiomycomyces is a hemipteran insect. Indicate healthy forest ecosystem. Cicadas is canopy dweller and forest with large trees. So herbivorous live in the soil and the sea roots. Locust is for the grasshopper omnivorous. 4 species of locust found in the India: desert locust, migratory locust, Bombay locust. These 3 locusts are there. Locust warning organizations LW, Ministry of Agriculture and Forest Climate Change Monitoring, Survey and Control locust. There. Dragonfly is for the first global assessment. IUCN Red List of the threatened species dragonfly. So highly sensitive indicator of state's freshwater ecosystem. Next is the Malaya giant squirrel. Malaya giant squirrel Geological Survey of India has projected the number of Malaya giant squirrel. So is this currently in the Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, West Bengal, Meghalaya, Nagaland. It's for the China, Thailand, Laos and Java. So it's one of the world's largest squirrel species, which is not in flyer squirrel. Neela Kurunji flower. Neela Kurunji is the Mandalapalli, Karnataka. So isolated flowering was reported in the Anakaramettu hill. Western Ghats. So Neelakurinji is for means blue mountain, got its name from the purple blue flower Neelakurinji, Western Ghats. And Bosen Bergia Alboltia and the Bosen Belgia Rubolutia. So new extent of the wild IUCN is endemic to the Khasi Hill of Meghalaya and Andaman Islands. So genus Bosebergia family is the ginger family of flowering plant. Climate change, human interference, exploitation. Agarwood is for the Tripura. Agarwood policy 20 billion industry evergreen northeast India is for other part of agarwood is aromatic plant valued for the wood and the medicinal aromatic region. IUCN critically endangered. Agarwood is for the 20 billion industry and is tree northeastern India. Agarwood is the agarbatti and IUCN critically endangered. Allium neguinum. Alia neguinum is the many staple foods such as long known under domestic cultivation. So this is the region of Western Himalaya, East Himalaya and the Western Himalaya. Allium neguinum is the Western Himalaya. Tibetan woody flying squirrel and the Yunnan woolly flying squirrel. Squirrel is largest is endangered, and woolly flying squirrel largest guiding mammal that rarest in the studies mammal, which is the 20th century. It is extinct now. Mumbara tidenensis is it first time discovered plant species of Antarctica. Gravy Boro is the Boro spider and Jarbari range of the Assam Chiranj river reserve of the forest. Deep sea mollusk are the family of the Geolopasa Benadingal Arabian Sea, and this is for the 7,000 meter. Shichutra Hirani Keshi is for the Western Ghats Maharashtra, rare sub for the Shichutra and the freshwater lodge. Subdolus and Nilgiriensis is a Asian great sink at the Anekatti Hill and the Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. So Nilgiriensis Tamil Nadu is for the Purthi part of the Eastern Ghats. Pyrostria lalji is for the tall tree in the coffee. Andaman and Nicobar is the Bundur forest of Andaman. So Jarwa forest and Chindia Tapu forest critically endangered. Pyrostria lalji. Now next is the Indian States Forest Report. Is Ministry of Environment Forest India States reports. Assessment of Indian forestry reports are every 2 years, and it's a Ministry of Environment 17 report. Mapping of the Indian forest and remote sensing technique used to the planning, formulation, the policy and as well as agroforestry. So tiger reserve and the tiger corridor will be there above the ground of the estimation using the synthetic aperture radar. Mapping of the climate change and the forest. Total forest covers are the increase 1540 square kilometer, very dense are increase 501 square kilometer, moderately dense are 1582 square kilometer, open forests are 26, scrub are there. Total forests are Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Maharashtra. And this is the geographical areas, the forest Mizoram. Percentage is Mizoram, then Arunachal Pradesh and Meghalaya. Normally Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. All trees that are canopy densely more than 10% of area. So patches of the tree as well as isolated tree outside the recorded forest area are there. Tree outside the forest are 20 million, and this is Maharashtra followed by Odisha and Karnataka, having a largest extent Maharashtra, Odisha, Karnataka. Maximum percentage Lakshadweep and the Kerala. Forest cover are in increase 31 square kilometer. Forest cover outside is increase 1509 square kilometer. Total forest cover 40% of geographical area. Trend and forest cover is the 0.32 in the hilly area. Total forest cover 37% of geographical area. Decreased 655 square kilometer. Area specific forest cover in the tiger reserve and the tiger corridor. So this is 7.80% of country total forest cover, 74%. Largest forest covered Nagarjun Sagar and the Srisailam Tiger Reserve, Andhra Pradesh, and the tiger corridor is the 11757 square kilometer, 1.62 is country total forest area. Forest cover decreased 22 square kilometer. Forest cover in 37.15. Buxas went from the highest gain of forest, highest losses in the Kaval, Telangana. Buxa and West Bengal is highest gain of forest, highest losses in the Kaval and Telangana. highest growth in the Buxa, highest loss in the Kawal. Growing stock, total growing stocks of woods will be the average growing stocks 56 come. Mangrove cover is 4992 square kilometer, 0.15% of the geographical area. West Bengal, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra increased 70 square kilometer states showing increased mangrove cover. Odisha and Maharashtra. Bamboo resources are 15 square kilometer. So increased bamboo bearing Mizoram states, higher decrease in the Madhya Pradesh, increase in the Mizoram, decrease in the Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So मध्य प्रदेश में ज़्यादा है. फॉरेस्ट कार्बन स्टॉक्स आर दिस इज द रिप्रेजेंट द सॉइल ऑर्गेनिक कार्बन एंड इट्स 79 million. Fire prone forest area, this is highly extremely fire prone, is Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. Climate hotspots are the studied period 2030 15, 2030 85. States projected to witness least temperature: Andaman Nicobar, West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. Region projected to the highest increased rainfall is Malabar, and experience least increase sometimes decline the rainfall. This is northeast Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, West Bengal and Jammu and Kashmir. Amendment in the Forest Conservation Act. Teen and Godavaran case. Godavaran case is for the provision notified forest. T and Godavaran is case is for the forest expanded include all area record to forest any government recognition all area confirmed to the dictionary meaning the forest, and forest by an expert committee will be there, and under demarcated forest will be there protected area. So Ministry of Environment and the change in the Forest Conservation Act is for the came to be enforced provide the conservation of forest, dereserving of the forest, use of forest land and non-forest purpose, assigning to the forest land way to the least private persons, clearing the forest, and it's for the comparative level of the net present value compensatory afforestation. Empower central government to make the rules carrying out the provision for this definition of non-forest purpose. So this is for ancillary conservation development management, and the constitute advisory committee will be there. Authority will be there for the government authority, a national green tribunal for land acquired before, for Ministry of Road and Railway, Defence, construction expansion of purview. Difference of land record will be there, like remain outside the purview of the act. Contribute construction alongside road and railway. Conservation pristine land and development of infrastructure along with the international border. Misuse provision of mining, so drilling technology private covered under definition of forest activity led to conservation forest in and penal provision. So the Gudalur Gene Pool Garden, that is Tamil Nadu, participatory forest management hill area development, Gudalur Forest Division, Nilgiri, Tamil Nadu is the work for the co-management of the give the take relationship between the village community and the forest department is in situ conservations and in situ conservation of this. World Heritage Forest, UNESCO World Resource Institute, International Union for the Conservation of Nature, first global scientific assessment for greenhouse gas emissions, and the sequestering by the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Most of the World Heritage Forest carbon sectoral remove the approximately 190 million ton, and this is for the climate change associated with severe weather, land use and the pressures on the various human activities. Sundarban National Park is among the 5 sites of highest blue carbon stock globally, mainly obtained from the decaying of the plant leaves and the wood roots and the animal. So blue carbon ecosystem include the seagrass, meadows and tidal marshes and mangrove. So World Heritage Sites, cultural natural sites, outstanding universal value which important UNESCO seek encourage the identification, protection, preservation cultural natural heritage. So conservation for the protection of world cultural and natural heritage. UNESCO distribution across is for the 1% of earth land and 0.6% of the ocean. UNESCO designs the 33 cultural, 7 natural and 1 mixed sites. Great Himalaya National Park, Nanda Devi, Kanchenjunga, Manas, Kaziranga, Sundarban, Kevladev National Park and the Western Ghats. Lake, wetland and the coastal land. So the recently reported six status of coral world global Coral reef monitoring is 14% coral in the two is Operation Network International Coral Reef Initiative aimed to provide the best available scientific information about the coral and conservation. Scientific McGrew organization for the status of coral reef and world report that describe the status and trend of coral reef. Global reports for the 14. So this is found in the more than 100 country and the words. This is the tropical Cancer and Capricorn in the Pacific Ocean and Indian Ocean, Caribbean Sea and the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. Ocean acidification, coral bleaching, like algae losing the built in the source, water pollution, reason for the algae bloom and the oil gasoline, sewage discharge, sea level rise, strong storms, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. So destruction of the unsustainable fishing practice, which is the sanding fishing, spraying, habitat destruction, coral mining, construction, coral collecting, unsustainable tourism, mangrove. Measure taken by the India protecting the coral reef is the Coastal Ocean Monitoring Prediction System, COMPAS, Land Ocean Interaction Coastal Zone, LOICUS, Integrated Coral Marine Area Management, and the Coral Bleaching Alert System, Coral Reef in Recovery Projects, Wildlife Trust, Gujarat Forest Global Fund for the Coral Reef this is launched to the funding for the culminate the UN Climate Change Conference of the Party Glasgow. 10 years, 625 million will be there. United Nations agency and the financial institution, private UN trust for the specifically focused sustainable development. 14 life below water. Coral reef funding gap will be there, and the U is for the toxic 3 oxybenzone. Oxoxylene is not generally recognized as a safe effective base category. So this is a toxic 30 active ingredient for this threat to the public health and marine life and coral reefs. 3 km long reef giant rose shaped coral is for this Tahiti and Iceland. Tahiti is largest island for the French Polynesia. Oversee the collectively France consisting the 5 archipelagos in the South Central Pacific. New Ramsar sites. Intergovernmental international treaty ecological character. Those global network wetlands will be there. Protection under the strict guideline conventions. List of wetland international importance. Larger sums of sites of India is the Sundarban. Smallest is the Renuka wetland, Himachal Pradesh. And 9 criteria identify wetlands are contained. The representation rare unique example of natural wetland type within the appropriate biogeographical region. Support vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, threatened. Support population of the plants for animal important, maintaining biological diversity. Supports species critical life cycle and provide the refugee regulatory supports and the support 1% individual population. Support the signification of the indigenous fish, an important source for the food, fish and the sprawling, and this is the support 1% of the indigenous population. Haidarpur wetland is Uttar Pradesh. Human made wetland, this is for the Madhya Pradesh Beraj floodplain and the river. So Haidarpur is the Hastinapur Wildlife Sanctuary. Vadhavan wetland is Gujarat, is the Baroda State Central Asian Flyway, and flora and fauna for the migratory birds are there. Khijadia Wildlife Gujarat, this is Gulf of Kutch, and the flora and fauna is also there. Bindwas Wildlife Sanctuary, Rohtak, Haryana. Its flora and fauna species Egyptian vulture, steppe eagle, and fish eagle, black-bellied wetlands is there. Sultanpur, Gujarat, Gurugram, Haryana. Minister of Forest Climate Eco-sensitive zone. Thol Lake Wildlife is for the Mehsana, Gujarat. Critically endangered white ram vulture. Bakira Wildlife Sanctuary, Uttar Pradesh, taking of the larger number of species. Related to the wetland, Indian portain launched to the Minister of Environment Forest Climate Change Initiative to provide larger point assess system that synthesize the information dissemination of wetland country and project initiative will be there. Blue flag certification for the Shivapur, Gogla, Kasaragod, Padupiri, Kappad, and Puducherry, Kovalam, Radhanagar, Rushikuya, Golden. So with the Kovalam, Tamil Nadu, Ede, Puducherry Beach, 10 blue flag as there for this water bathing hygienes and facilitate the amenity safe healthy environment sustainable development of area. According Denmark Big Foundation is 33 measures are there: bathing, water quality, environment management, safety, sustainable beaches, eco label beam are the beach environment. ICZM integrated coastal management for this is development of this. Amendment to coastal sea Shivajpur in Gujarat, Gogla is Gujarat, Kasaragod is Karnataka, and the Padubidri is Karnataka, Kapad is Kerala, Adel Puducherry and the Kovalam is Puducherry, and the Golden and Rushikonda is for the Andhra Pradesh, Golden in the Rushikonda is Andhra Pradesh, Golden in the Odisha. Shivrajpur is for the Gogla is Gujarat, Kasaragod and the Puducherry is Karnataka, Kapad is Kerala, and then Puducherry Kovalam is for the Andhra Pradesh, Golden, and Rushikonda is Odisha, Golden is Odisha. Amendment to the coastal regulation zone. So this draft notification for the coastal regulation notification Environment Protection Act, development production oil, natural gas drilling, and the shall be exempted prior this poor temporary integrated management of this zone. It shall remove the traditional coastal community, and coastal will be there for Ministry of Environment Climate Change. There will be low tide line, high tide line classification of this 500 meter of tide, high tide, low tide. Finance for Biodiversity Initiative. Mawa Foundation is for the biodiversity, and it's increase the material biodiversity and the workshop for the efficiency, innovation, and enhance reliability. So this is finance for biodiversity worldwide are the responsible 800 billion damage natural annually. Risk of the country will be G20, China, and India. Leave coalition is for the launch to the Indian group of government, Norway, US, UK, company Amazon, and mobilize the finance protect the tropical leaf is the lowering the emissions and aim to mobilize the least 1 billion to move rapidly toward the reducing the emission deforestation. Support the achieve their economically determined contribution and Paris Agreement's REDD plus mechanism. So this is program involve all the stakeholders including the indigenous community. Biodiversity City Initiative, World Economic Forum, Government of Colombia, Government Business City bring together multidisciplinary expertise. So World Economic Forum and Government of Colombia Biodiversity City Initiative 2030. World Economic Forum and Colombia Biodiversity City for the 2000 city. Vulture Center is for the scientific for the Bombay, and the Natural History Society's team for this Ministry of Environment critically endangered and the declining. So due to the kidney failure, they are diclofenac action plan for the vulture conservation breeding. Parivesh portal. This is single window integrated system developed by the online submission of monitoring proposal, average time grant for the environment clearance, and upgrade the portal provide the single window solution. WHO BioHub initiative is the rapid sharing of the pathogen between the laboratory and the facilitate the storage better analysis. So pathogen share bilaterally. It's for the enable the member and material for the SARS-CoV-2. Biotech Pride guidelines. Biotech Prides are guidelines aimed to providing the framework guideline principle facilitate the enable sharing the exchange biological knowledge, and this is for the first national repository data publicly funded data will be there. Herbal Park is for the inaugurated highest herbal park situated in Mana, Uttarakhand, Chamoli districts, which is the last Indian village of the herbal park, China. So Chamoli district, Uttarakhand, situated the Mana, Uttarakhand Chamoli district herbal park, inaugurated last Indian village for the bordering China, and this is provided the Mana Wal Panchayat under the Union Government Compensatory Afforestation Fund Kampa. Panchmulli Lake, Crocodile Lake is Panchmulli Lake, also known the Dike 3 Sardar Sarovar Dam. So this is sea snort. Sea snort is the Sea of Marmara. Largest outbreak sea snort naturally occurring green sludge for the over for this is the when algae feast or warm, and this is global warming impact the snorts. Third pole is NASA 2 lake, and in the third pole region and the larger this happened to be the mountain glacier shrunk. So this is the Hinshan, Himalaya, Tibetan, free many Asian large lake, including the Indus, Brahmaputra, and Ganga yellows. Aerial seeding campaign is for the Marut drone came into with the Hyderabad. Haryana Forest Department employed the aerial seeding technique. Andhra Pradesh, Aravali, Faridabad. Andhra Pradesh seeds ball seeds covered the mixture of the clay composed and component, easy protection of the difficult inaccessible area, and eliminate the seed bluffing and digging hole. Reports of indices protection planet report. This is released by UN Environment World Conservation. UNEP protection of planet report is for the assess the state protected conservation of the world. Final report protected planet report Aichi biodiversity target 11 to look into the future worlds prepare. So report protected planet report is for the Aichi targets, and this is for the monitoring UNEP, and this is include the data other effective ways of the waste conservation and other for this conservation mission. There is no restriction management of the OECD. Conflict and conservation released to the International Union Conservation of Nature. IUCN direct killing of the wildlife, degradation, disruption, armed conflict, and the prevent the some of the world more biodiverse region. Conflict is natural reserve and degradation of nature. So this is the conflict conservation, IUCN International Union Conservation of Nature and conflict conservation. Nature in a globalized world, International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN flagship nature globalized world. So this is nature in the globalized world. A future for all need for the human wildlife coexistence report. Worldwide UNEP is there for the conflicts, and this report is also there. Nature-based solution is a nature-based solution state finance nature United Nations Environment Program UNEP and World Economic Forum for the nature-based solution mode. It's a GDP ecosystem restoration. UNEP and the FAO will be UN decades for the ecosystem restoration. UNEP and FAO for the means of assisting for ecosystem. State of World Trees Report Botanical Garden of Conservation International Independent UK for the Global Network for the Conservation Botanical Garden. A State of India Environment Report is there. Public interest for advocacy of organizations. Next is gross environment product. Uttarakhand became the first state to take the gross environment product. It's a critical natural resource, air, water, which is assigned to monetary value. Quality and quantity is determined by the Uttarakhand, and ecosystem survived. So mining, manufacturing, construction, many activities, agriculture, forestry, water retention, food management, soil retention. So these are activities which are in the global environments, and the GDP is for this all activities. System of environment is GDP is for the improvement in the environment components and much for the states done reducing the loss of ecosystem. System for environment and ecosystem accounts are there, and the Happy Planet Index, British New Economics Foundation, Bhutan Gross National Happiness Index. Other is the China has been undergoing the study climates and the type of environment damage, but various environmental indicators. Renewable Energy Certificate, Ministry of Power for this mechanism to boost the green energy, and this is for the introduction of renewable energy and market based instrument. So even and renewable energy certificate will be there. Solar energy will be there. New solar energy will be there. Renewable energy for forbearance price and floor price determined Central Electrical Authority and open access consumer company. Captive power plants, this is 4% of total renewable energy. Wind and solar power 58%. Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Gujarat 73%. Validity of this is for the 3 year. Removal of the floor and forbearance price monitoring surveillance mechanism, and is eligible to the period of power purchase agreement. Technology multiplying for this obliged entity will be RPO targets, and beneficiary will be allowing this. Green Day Ahead Markets Portal. This is for the with convention day of the markets power sector, electricity generation distribution company, renewable energy for this electricity trading, and will participate submit the bids together. The convention renewable energy shifts. It's for the base of the power purchase agreement, providing the competitive price and efficiency to clean energy trade. Power Exchange India, Indian Energy Exchange, real-time electricity markets for this enable regulated way. Like energy efficiency, global fuel economy initiative will be there. Global fuel economy initiative updates energy, and International Energy Agency is there for this purpose of promoting supporting government action to improve the energy efficiency. IEA, UNEP, International Council for Clean Transportation Union California has for target for the economy and the vehicle for 2030 include the energy and the hybrid energy. For this is for the technology approach IEA, and this is Paris, France, which is the IEA World Energy Outlook and the oil market reports. Energy accounting Ministry of Power is mandate to the DISCOMs and upgrade the EEA and the energy for the quarterly energy accounting, and the certified energy manager annual energy audit will be there. So this is the publish in the public domain and accounting of the all energy distribution periphery, detailed information electricity, fixed the regulations on the suitable infrastructure upgradations. Ministry of Power Sustainability in electricity sector and promotion clean energy, and under the electricity act sustain economic viability of the ease of the financial stress compensation payable. So must be the RE will be the generate also for the power exchange alternative and the energy sources. Methanol. So recently India first indigenous for the high ash classification based methanol production plants BALE is burned efficiently. All internal combustions produce no parties for no suits. So this is the energy component, and this is for the high octane number improve the efficiency. So there is the it is the clear liquid chemical that water soluble and biodegradable. Methane has a distinct advantage of polygeneration, and methanol can be made to the source can be converted into the CO and H2. Methanol process make the dimethyl and liquid fuel that closely assemble diesel. Methanol used to produce other chemical derivative, which is turned used to produce the thousand of products of the building materials, foam and the polyesters, variety of the health pharmaceutical products, carbon hydrogen barrier fuel product, high ash coal agricultural residue, and the thermal power plants. There we can see the methanol. Methanol is the substantially cheaper petrol, diesel, and methanol may be attributed to the make it extend spark ignite the fuel is high octane number and improve the efficiency. NITI Aayog roadmap for the methanol economy substitute import 2030 10%. So it's a methanol annually 1924. This is methanol economy research program will be there, and this is Bureau of Indian Standards notified the methanol blending. The test will be the blend of the being involved, and this is railway work towards the blending of methanol program cover high ash recall to methanol. So flood ice bed gasification technology Department of Science and Technology clean technology will be energy reserves and reduce the crude oil. Ethanol blending is the expert committee report roadmap for the ethanol blending 2025 advanced target to 20% blending. So this is Canada 2%, India 2%, China 3%, Europe 6%, Brazil 27%, and USA 50%. Bioethanol is producing USA, then Brazil, then Europe, then China, then India, then Canada, then last others. So it's a government introduced administrative price mechanism. National Biofuel Coordination Committee for lying the FCA to release the distillation for ethanol production. National Biofuel Policy introduced to the line with the interest subvention scheme introduced enhancement ethanol production capacity. Ethanol blending program introduced Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and this is the interest subvention scheme for the enhancement augmentation of ethanol production capacity and grain based distillation for the production feedstock to the sorghum and the soya beans. Introduction vehicle for the E20 material and the E10 engine. For this is and production of the E20 for facilitate setting up the additional ethanol. For this will be the provide timeline making the blended across the country. Help increase the consumption of the ethanol. PMG1 is for the Anukul Fasal Nivaran Yojana commercial plants for the demonstration of the plant's second generation biorefinery, and is having the availability of the bioethanol. 24 2G plants biomass and the agriculture waste. This is the Cabinet Committee on the Economic Affairs modified scheme for extending internal subvention grain molasses sugar beet sea sorghum increasing India ethanol production pilot project E100 will be there, and sugarcane based raw materials surplus rice and food corporation of maize Department of Food and Public Distribution notification mass emission of E20 12 and E15 fuel Ministry of Road and Transport 12% ethanol 15% ethanol gasoline central motor vehicle for the 15 compliance and displayed the vehicle compatibility. India's ethanol blend program. So 6 months will be the introduce the flex fuel, gasoline, blended petrol, and the fix. So this is the vehicle which operates on the natural gas only and not the dedicated natural gas vehicle for this, and can be both the fuel simultaneously, and the flex fuel vehicle which is the designed to operate it any mixture of two or more different fuel. This is running on the blend gasoline 83%. ICAR Central Tuberculosis Research Institute Cassava as a promising raw material for the bioethanol, and the physiochemical functional property foods and industry. So potential feedback to 2G bioethanol production major is the Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Use cooking based biodiesel. So this is the Indian Oil Corporation kicked supply biodiesel. So previously used for the cooking and flying, now UCO important source for the raw material. Hypertension, obesity is there, prevent the people serious Alzheimer disease, clogs drainage system, contributing to the needs of circular economy. Is the alternative fuel. Biodiesel, which is fossil diesel, vegetable oil, animal oil, tallow waste, cooking oil, trans esterification, carbon neutral, CO2 is rapidly degradable there. So this take the national policy for biofuel production, non-edible oil, and use the cooking oil, gestation crop. FSI is for the reproduced used cooking oil. RUCO project. RUCO sticker and mobile phone application will be there. RUCO is established chain, and UCO for presents impurities in the fatty acids. RUCO large food business for the store. UCO separates. Next is National Coal Gasification Mission. Ministry of Coal is created. Resource Group Academic and Bale Gasifications. For this is installed world first coal gasification using the domestic coal. So Odisha's steel plants aim to the achieved gasification 100 million ton, and mapping up the gasification, develop indigenous technology, develop suitable business model, marketing strategy, policy supports Atmanirbhar Bharat, coordination of the ministry providing the quantitative targets. Coal gasification is the coal into synthetic gas and the mixture of hydrogen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is the conversion of the non-minerable coal into the commercial gases through the gasification and the cleaner options. This is the refinery. Ammonia, ammonium nitrate, acetate, dye, formaldehyde, shock, and the serine, fuel, solvent, olefin, ethylene, propylene, methylene acetate, acetic acid, methanol, hydrogen. Energy storage system. Power and Ministry of Renewable Energy is for this promote the creation of storage system. So this integral part of the power system and granted interstate transmission connectivity RPO. Renewable purchase obligation is transmission cost. Renewable energy will be waived. National Mission for Transformative Mobility and the battery storage energy storage system enable energy renewable like solar, wind, and key grid will be there for the production of linked incentive scheme. Cabinet store electrical energy and the electrochemical as the chemical energy convert. This Dam Safety Act is the Rajya Sabha for the Dam Safety Act adopt the uniform dam safety and mechanism to maintain the all large dam. Indian rank in the third globally. 451 dams are there, and the large dam are 5334. As per the data, National Register of Large Dam of Maharashtra has maximum number of dam, and the highest dam of Tehri, Uttarakhand, Bhagirathi River. Longer dam is Hirakud Mahanadi. Oldest is the Kalanai Dam in Tamil Nadu, Kaveri River. Kalanai Dam in the Tamil Nadu and Kalanai River. Embankment Dam is the Earth Hill and the Lake Hill Dam. For the most common is the utilize the material and the usually usable for locally. Concrete dam and the Mozarni Dam for the grave arc bottom and the base suited for the in-channel earth structure. Composite dam is the earth fill and the embankment for the non-outflow. Application is for the higher more than 15 meter, higher between the 15 meters, satisfying certain additional design, and there is the layer of the monitoring and the for states National Committee for Dam Safety, National Dam Safety Authority, and the State Committee for the Dam Safety, State Dam Safety Authority, and will be the undertake surveillance and inspection of monitoring. Obligations will be the safe constructions and function will be there. Offence and penalty will be reduced. Other emerging climate change related challenge will be critical concern will be there. DRIP is the support the dam asset infrastructure, ensure the environment social safeguard during the enhance the safety to public. and this ensure the safety existing creation the improve the water infrastructure associate for the dams. This is the rehabilitation drip irrigation. Drip is a state sector scheme for the initiated the bridge World Bank, and this is the provide the urgent state to the repair. World largest drip phase 1 is for the 23 dams. In overall coordination and supervision of the close March, Ministry of Jal Shakti initiated the fund for the drip phase 2 and 3 is the three central scheme. So phase 2 will be the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and the 250 million will be there 17, 13, 18 to promote the institutional strengthening the states, promote the sustainable dam safety agriculture, Atmanirbhar Bharat water security model for the corporate model for the state active resilient dam and the community repairing the climate change. Makadiku Dam, Karnataka. This is the committee investigates the alleged violent. So Makadiku in the Tamil Nadu and Karnataka Kaveri tributary Arakavati. Nagarjun Sagar Dam. This is Krishna Management Board notified the Godavari Management Board Krishna between the Nalkonda and the Guntur Andhra Pradesh. Ratle Dam in Jammu Kashmir for the India and the Pakistan. Ratle Kishanganga. Jangi Thopan Pori Dam in Himachal Pradesh. This is Jangli Thopan Pori Dam hydroelectrical project in Himachal Pradesh. Malla Periyar Dam is for the Kerala, and this is Tamil Nadu release the water confronting Mulla and Periyar. Gandhi Sagar Dam is Madhya Pradesh. Is report Gandhi Sagar Madhya Pradesh needs to be implemented repair the Chambal River. Pakal Dul hydroelectrical project Jammu Kashmir of Masurdar River. Pakal Dul is for the Masurdar is a Pakal Dul hydroelectrical larger hydroelectrical Masurdar Jammu Kashmir. Pilli Chintala Dam. Pilli Chintala Dam is Krishna River Andhra Pradesh and the KL Rao Sagar multi-purpose irrigation. And Behatan hydropower station China is the Jinsa River. Rand Ethiopia Reservoir Dam is for the Ethiopian and downstream of Egypt's largest dam of Africa. Nile River main tributary of the Blue Nile and a White Nile tributary will be there. National Interlinking River Authority is for the National Interlinking of River Authority is the independent autonomous body implementation of river interlinking project. Government of India Secretary rank of officers, so National Water Development Agency and umbrella body will be linking to this. Coordinate under neighboring countries. So this is Ministry of Jal Shakti and the Ministry of External Affairs. Power to issue related to environment, wildlife and the clearance. Power to raise the funds and the special purpose vehicle, livelihood generation, provide navigation, increase irrigation potential, variation in the rainfall and availability of the water, reduce the flood and the drought effects. British irrigation engineers Sir Arthur Thomas Cotton interlinking of the Ganga and the Kaveri. National Perspective Plan, Ministry of Irrigation and Ministry of Jal Shakti. Ministry of Irrigation, Ministry of Jal Shakti, National Water Development Authority Agency for identify 30 link peninsula component 1400 Himalaya. A special committee interlinking of river will be there. Ministry of Jal Shakti monitoring will be there. Linking different surplus and then this will be there. So project Ken Betwa and the Pinjal, Tapi, Narmada, Manas, Sankosh, Tista, Godavari, Mahanadi Godavari. Recently approved the funding Ken Betwa first project National Perspective Plan Ken Betwa. Duadao Dam now water will be surplus area drought and the water deficit area Bundelkhand region implementation area Ken Betwa link project and the party for the Panna Tiger Reserve. Kemur Hill Ken and the Madhya Pradesh Uttar Pradesh flow of the joint to the Yamuna. Betwa River Madhya Pradesh Uttar Pradesh joint to tributary. Earth Overshoot Day is for the human demand ecological resources given year. Earth generation, so this is the global footprint network and 29 July will be there. For Overshoot Day is deforestation Amazon, increase the CO2 emission. Green Voyage 2050 project partnership project Norway International Maritime Organization, so supporting the developing country towards the 11 climate change and energy efficient goal. So it's for the green shipping. Geospatial Energy Map India, Niti Aayog for the Indian Space ISRO and the geographical information system of the map, capturing the storing, checking the displaying data, spatial data, holistic picture of the energy resource and draft national geospatial data will be there. Shunya labeling and net zero energy builder. Shunya labeling is for the energy highly efficient building of the extremely low energy demand. Energy performance index and this is the will be awarded the Shunya label and the Shunya plus label encourage the make the energy efficient building further improvement. Network to greening the financial system. Reserve Bank of India joined the Central Bank Supervision Network to greening the financial system. Group of Center Supervision Environment Climate Change will be there. Strategic Clean Energy Partnership. This is the power energy efficiency, oil and gas, energy growth and fuel. US Climate Change and a Clean Energy Agreement for the leaders of the climate. IREDA back Green Urja Award. IREDA is for the leading public institution Green Award for the India and the Commerce Mini Ratna, Government of India Mini and the New Renewable Energy Public Limited Government Non-Banking Financial. SATA Art is for setting up the comprehensive plans and make available to the market for the use, production of the plants and make it available. Sustainable Development Cell. Ministry of Coal is for the sustainable development, advise the mentor plans, action, minimize the adverse impact of mining. Biojet fuel technology, homegrown of the technology of the biojet for the it's a commercial plant to the using. Urban Shift Initiative, Sustainable City Impact Program, Global Environment Facility of support the city integrated approach for urban development, Pune. Sustainable Calling Handbook for Cities, UN Environment Program, Comprehensive Overview, Sustainable Urban Cooking Approach to the Wall System of Approach, Sustainable Cooling and Handbook for the Cities, UNEP. Electrical Vehicle Initiative is for release Global Electrical Outlook and its multi-electronic policy. So this is accelerating the introduction of adoption for electrical vehicle. Mission Innovation Clean Tech Exchange, Mission Innovation of the Clean Exchange for the global network, and the Mission Innovation AMI is founder member. So this is Mission Innovation launched to the Paris Climate Change Innovation Platform. For this will be Ecological Civilization. Chinese President Xi Jinping stressed to the advanced ecological civilization. Next is Sustainable Recovery Plan. International Energy Agency carbon emission are set to the Sustainable Recovery Plan. 1 trillion economy will be full implementation of this. Sustainable Development Goal is for the towards the recognizing sustainable context achievement for the local development. Bioeconomy, renewable woods and the product engineering, woods product, wood bank, and this is economy using the renewable network and product foods for energy and the service. Renewable integrations of the India. Niti Aayog, International Energy Agency, is for the country for the per capita electronic consumption is still for the world average, and renewable capacity will be the solar, winds and renewable energy of the higher variable. While Energy Investment Reports is for the global investment of 1 trillion economy, multi-billion dollar opportunity for reproduction agriculture is World FAO, UN Development, UNDP, UNEP, and it's for the general for this global food system. Agriculture Outlook, this is for the OECD and FAO assessment 10-year prospect for this. Transforming Food System Rural Prospect, issue to the different segment of the food system. Rome, Italy, and its member will be FAED. State Energy Efficiency Index, it's for the efficiency. BEE, Alliance of Energy Efficiency will be policy regulation of finance mechanism achieve content and aspirant will be there. Next is disaster. Mountain Pass in the news. Zojila Pass, that is the time border road organization. Zojila Mountain open connecting to the Ladakh and Srinagar. High mountain pass of Kargil, and this is strategic for the Ladakh, Srinagar, all weather connectivity of the Ladakh. And Lamkhaga Pass, that is the Lamkhaga incident toughest pass of Himachal Pradesh and Harshil Uttarakhand. Umlinga Pass, BRO for the constructing black taping world highest motorable road. Umlinga Pass of Ladakh. Altitude of Siachen. Khardungla Pass is Leh, and the Lahul and the Spiti, Himachal Pradesh, recently world's highest changing for this Kaja and Spiti river. Located Ladakh, Lahul and the Spiti connected to the Kunjom La and the Kunjom Pass. Lies in the shadow area of the Pir Panjal and near to the confluence of river Chandra and Baga. Chambi River Valley for the China stabilizing Chumbi Valley, Indo, Bhutan and China transaction Siliguri corridor. Pansi Lunga Glacier, Janskar, Ladakh. This is the Pansi Lunga has been conducted about the glacier. Andaman Nicobar, Chinku Island, recently Indian Coast of Guard. Tianchong Island, largest survivor, endemic to the Nicobar and the megapod birds. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Island, Rose Island will be Netaji Subhash Chandra Island. State of the island is a few great Andamanese tribes will be settled there. Bundelkhand region is the Buxwaha dominant mining Bundelkhand. For this is the Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Vindhya range of this is the Betwa river and the dam for provide the irrigation water, diamond goods and the quality of size. Sohra, formerly called the Chera Punji, so it's a green Sohra afforestation campaign of Home Ministries for Cherrapunji and the Meghalaya. So Sohra sprays earth region up due to the deforestation and indiscrimination of flea flying. Odisha, Kendrapala districts. This is India's 3 species crocodile in the Gadial Magar, Salt Magar. Kendrapada, this is river of the inlet. So this is the conservation program for saltwater estuaries and crocodile. At the Bhitarkanika National Park, 3 species will be there. Wildlife Protection Act. Saltwater least concerned Gadial critically endangered. Magar is the vulnerable. Gujarat, Kartol Hill Fault, Kutch region. Kartol Hill. This is the Kartol Hill is trading major interest basin fault located central mainland Kutch region is Kutch mainland fault, South Wagar fault and the Gedi fault, Iceland belt fault. They are the Asia's largest grassland in the Gujarat Kutch, home to the pastoral community of Maldari. Region is salutary for the run of Kutch and the called the Prosopis julifera and the helicopter. Next is volcano in the news. Kilau volcano, Hawaii, USA. Scientists noticed the surge earthquake. And the Shield volcano, that is the big island Hawaii in the Central Pacific. Mauna Loa mountain words volume Hawaii in this. Cumbra volcano, Canary. This is 7 island of the Atlantic Ocean, Africa, Canary, Spain. So Cumbra Vija volcano, Canary Island is the Spain. Mount Nyiragongo volcano is for the Congo. So large stratovolcano, extremely fluid lava. Nyiragongo volcano. Merapi volcano in Indonesia. Mount Sumeru is the Java. And the Mahameru great mountain is located to the Bromo, Tanjore and the Sumeru Arjino UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. Volcano Mountain Aso, Japan. Volcano Mountain Aso is the Japan for the Kyushu group of the island of the Japan. So Aso Caldera rank is known for the largest volcano. Mount volcano Aso is in the Japan. Hunga Tonga volcano is in the Tonga, and this is the Tonga group of the island, South Pacific and near to the Fiji and the Samoa. Estimation of 1 billion under volcano. Tonga. Lake Tanganyika is for the Lake Tanganyika, second largest freshwater lake of Baikal, Russia. So river Lukuga is the Congo river system. River Rujugi is main inflow of the river Kalamgo and the Malagarsi. Lake Tahoe is for the Tahoe is natural rim in this is Tahoe freshwater, California, Nevada. And Hindu Kush Himalaya report to the glacier UNDP is extend to the 8th for the Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan. World third largest storage of the Adu Atoll in Southeast Asia. The Maldives is divided into the channel of the Gan Kundu, Villa Kudu and the Mala Kudu. Sundau Sahelian zone is a climate change semi-arid Sahara humid. Java Island, this is the Mount Sumeru is the highlight volcano is the Indonesia. So Sunda Islands is there for the Sumatra to the northeastern Bali. Next is Faroe Island. Faroe Island is semi-autonomous region of Denmark, flows and the North Atlantic region for the moss grasses and the mountain bog natural vegetation is there. Apo Island, Philippines. Apo Island is the Zero West is for the Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Taiwan and Japan, Palau. Mount Apo, highest peak of the Kayan River in the longer river. Cyprus is the museum of the underwater area Napa. So this is underwater forest for the Panera. Third largest island of Mediterranean Sea and the EU. So this is Pelidio. Cyprus originate Tundu Mountain. Iceland is the long 7% of the surface of the deeper entirely to so predominantly to the volcano islands of the basaltic rock, famous for spring geyser and the ice fields. Active volcano Thojora river is largest river of the highest peak of Havana Land. Peru is the 19-day environmental and emergency. Geographical features: Andes Mountain, Lake Titicaca, and the Peru. For this for tip nearly to the touch of the equator. Amazon cover. Greece is for the after the European wildfire is Greece and the climate crisis ministry. Major water bodies are the Aegean Sea, Ionian Sea, and the Libyan Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Siberia is for the Kazakhstan, Russia, and the northern wildlife. Third year, so this is for the extent to the Ural Mountain and to Pacific Ocean. So Kazakhstan border to the Mongolia, China. Nepal is for the micro hydroelectricity projects. Is temperate zone. Geographical features: highest point is Mount Everest, lowest point is Sarai Kanchan Kallan, and this is for the Narayani River. Madagascar, one of the most acute water shortage. Madagascar is separated to the Africa, largest island in the world, and the Moro Mokotro and the Mankoi is the Iceland for the French. ऐसे ही मजे लेती रहती है. Bogdoi River. This is the coal mining of Nagaland, and the west of this Mokon, north hill of Nagaland. So this is the bank tributary of Brahmaputra, most of the Assam. Kameng River, Arunachal Pradesh, the Gori Chain Mountain, and the tributary of this the Brahmaputra River. Jin Bordeli, Assam. Geographical features: Dafla Hill East and Akka Hill, boundary between the Seza and the Century. Eagle Nest Sanctuary and the Seza Sanctuary. Mahanadi River, which is the tributary of the Ganga River, flow Bangladesh and hill of Darjeeling of the this area. Sabarmati, Ministry of Civil Aviation making the seaplane. So it's Aravalli, Rajasthan, and this is Rajasthan, Gujarat, and this is Ahmedabad located in the bank. Mahanadi River for the Mahanadi constructed. Also the Sarda, Kali, and Gagra River was boundary of the Uttarakhand and the Kumayu, Mahakali, Uttarakhand, Kumayu, and the Nepal. MOU will be signed with the Nepal. Lukha River, it's a Meghalaya, and the Faiko meditation East Jaintia Hill of Meghalaya. So Lukha River is for there for the toxic content of the water. Chala Kuddi River, that is the Kerala, and the Kerala Alamalai Hill, fifth longest river of Kerala, the famous waterfall of the Athira Pilli Fall. Giri River is for the Prime Minister Hydroelectric Nenuka Dam and the Himachal Pradesh. It's Himachal including the Shimla Hill and the Yamuna. Important tributary of Yamuna. Pebar River is for the Savra Kuddu hydropower projects. This is Kandra and this is tributary of Son. Mahanadi and Brahmani River, this is originated to mitigate adverse environmental impact, and this is for the Nilgiri and the Ranchi, Jharkhand, and this is for the Onge Tel Jonk is river. Ungoi River, this is Meghalaya, and the Shillong Peaks, a natural boundary between the Pinar and the Khiam Khasi. This is gateway to the Bangladesh. Ungoi River is the called to the name Davni River and the greenish bluish color river. Nile River is for the rise of the equator for through the eastern Africa and 6600 mt of the Mediterranean Sea. So white Nile, then it's Victoria, then African largest lake, and Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. Blue Nile is the Lake Tana in the Ethiopia. Pacific Ring of Fire is the Pacific Ocean active volcano. 75% of world volcano will be there, and this is the tectonic plates move creating the subduction known rock melt and become the magma. Darwaza gas crater. This is the first way to extinguish the Turkmenistan Great Way of Hell, Darwaza gas crater. So this about the Darwaza gas crater. Karakoram deserts turning 15 years. Crater is 1975 massive underground gas. Heat dome in the northern America. So area of the high pressure during the La Nina, and waters are cool in the eastern Pacific, warm in western Pacific. Jet stream will be spinning counterclockwise around the globe. Turbidity current. So off of the Africa in the deep canyon leading to the Congo River, rapid downfill flow of the water measure to the particle and sediments, plankton, organic byproducts will be turbidity river will be there. and discuss the earthquake, collapse of slope, and all that. Earth's first continent formation. So this is based on the age rock continent emergence 700 million year, continent 2.5 years. So earliest continent will rise Jharkhand, Singhbhum, and break through the continent rose due to the tectonic activity. Zero shadow day. This is the Odisha Bhubaneswar zero shadow day, a celestial phenomena. So its sun is highest point sky. So between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, shadow of the all bring the object disappear. World northernmost Iceland, coast of Greenland, main of the seaweed moraines of vegetation is mark the earth northernmost terrain is the autonomous Arctic region. Southern Ocean, Northern Geographical is the recognized Southern Ocean, world fifth ocean, constitute most of the water that surround to the Antarctica, excluding the direct passage Scotia, and is defined to the current called the Antarctica polar current, and the regulations through the heat distribution supporting the cold fragile marine system. Deep Ocean Mission is the Explore Deep Ocean for the resources, develop the technology, the Blue Economy Initiative, phase 5 manner for the 5 Ministry of Earth Science and Water Agency, Matsya 6000 Samudrayan initiative to capture the sea for this 12 hour 96 hour. So the development of technology, deep ocean man, development of the ocean climate change, innovation, exploration, conservation, deep ocean survey, and the fresh water for the marine station. So this is the integrated mining system, polymetric nodule, protection of the important climatic variable, biospecific deep ocean flora and fauna, potential to the multi-metal hydrothermal and the sulfides and mineralization, offshore ocean thermal energy conservation, human captivity, and the translate research into the application. So deep is a manned expedition deepest point for the Victor Vascovo, and is approved to be the OSMART, and this OSMART is the Ministry of Science generate the regulatory update information of marine living technology type marine for this technology generation, and the polymetric nodule underwater basin. So this is for that. Long range forecast. So meteorological department will disseminate a long range forecast. So month wise will be helpful to increasing the unpredictability. So we'll release the forecast, and this sea surface temperature, equatorial Indian Ocean East, and the mean sea level temperature, Northeast Europe land temperature, equatorial Pacific volume, dynamic global for multimodal assembly forecast. So recently Doppler weather radar will be there for the meteorological departments. Doppler weather radar, Doppler effect, pulses, electromagnetic energy will be protecting life and property. This is for the relative motion between the wave source and the observer. Establishing shift in earth axis. So if there is according to the new earth poles to move to the east new direction, so this is the speed movement of earth axis 17 times faster than compared to this. Then the other possible reason for the change in the glacier region is climate change, unsustainable consumption of groundwater, irrigation, and anthropogenic activity. Change in the expected for the daily life, and earth axis is line along with the spin around itself. So geographical north and the south pole is for the move to the axis, and this is the climate change adding to the degree, which is the geographical pole wander. Different polar wandering and magnetic poles are there. Glacial Lake Atlas Ganga River Basin. This is the under National Hydrological Project, Ministry of Jal Shakti. Ganga River Basin is extend to the central Himalaya, Nepal, Tibet, Bangladesh. 9 highest peaks: Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu, Choyu, Dholagiri, Mansalu, Andhra Pradesh, and Shishpangama. Ganga River Basin divided into the 11 sub-basins: Yamuna joining the Sarda, Gandak, Gagra, Kosi, Ganga. Climate tropical, subtropical temperature. So moraine dammed. So for periodic glacier treat, high dammed is for the drainage blocked by the glacier that advanced to become thicker. Glacier erosion and other glacier lake, and the lake has been mapped. Sub-basin contain the glacier lake. Minimum number of glacier lakes are Yamuna sub-basin. Uttarakhand share the 93%, and the Himachal Pradesh. Each glacier lakes are the alpha numerical. This is the national hydrological projects will be aimed to improve the extent quality, accessibility of water resource information, strength, capacity targeted. It's for the National Remote Sending Center ISRO out of hydrological studies, and this is for the Gulf risk and situation of Gulf selected lake that for entire catchment of the Indian Himalaya river and covering the Indo-Ganga Brahmaputra river. So water extent of the sufficient for the extent to the sufficient in the under for this is the formation of glaciers behind the dam, and this is generally weak and can be breached suddenly. Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. So these six assessment report intergovernmental panel of climate change for the AMOC largest system of ocean current for the thermohaline circulations and conveyance band world ocean belt flow of water, salty water, and the upper layer ocean northward Gulf of Mexico Gulf stream to the North Atlantic current is high altitude and the Atlantic. This denser water sink and return to the southern towards the tropics and the Atlantic bottom current. So this is all ocean basin Atlantic circumpolar current. This theory of the thermohaline circulation pattern was first proposed Henry Storm and Arnold Arnold. So this is the upper 100-meter ocean surface ocean current also flow 1000-meter below. Deep ocean current will be water densely, which is controlled by temperature and the salinity process of thermohaline circulation. Global ocean conveyor green ocean conveyor belt is there, driven primarily by the global wind system fueled by energy and the sun. Horizontal difference of temperature salinity speed will be the 5 to 115 and 1 centimeters to volume of the water will be relatively less and the tremendous volume will be there. This is amok fluctuation in the Pleistocene time, and this is glacial stage weaker circulation, but changing the destabilizing amok is the anthropogenic and the link to the global warming. Fresh water from the melting greenhouse gas and the Arctic Ocean will be making to the sink to the bottom. Weakening of Gulf Stream and a change in regional changes. This will be the trigger the cooling effect on the climate change. Sea level temperature will be rise. Change in the regional cycle temperature and the natural conditions of the ecosystem. Tipping points will be the amok collapse into the states, and this will be the flow. Amok may be remain the collapse, and this ability to system will be initial stage and forcing reverse. Amok is self-reinforcing system. Circulation itself bring the salty water into the high altitude Atlantic. Salty water increase the density. The water able to sink and then salty, and its salty become the circulation and collapse. Amok will include the casual interaction with change in ENSO and for Amazon rainforest and sinking for the Atlantic sheets due to the seesaw effects of the migration of IT season and warming of the ocean. So Amazon rainforest, Arctic ring of ice, coral reefs, and Greenland ice sheet, permafrost, Antarctic ice sheet, Atlantic circulation, boreal forest, and a milky. So this is the where the tiny change could push to the system into the completely new states, and this is the tipping point where the changing climate push to the Earth system and abrupt the irreversible change.